with rollerball? That doesn't even make sense. I'm gonna load this up.
How are you doing, Dale?
I've
I just
seen
wanted
them.
to I just wanted to congratulate you guys on getting Burleson into your space. Good job. Good job.
Thank you, man.
Honestly, probably couldn't have happened without your earlier space.
No
that you guys
way.
did with Jenny.
Yeah, there's no
I've
way.
seen them.
There's no way. Like, thanks, Mary. I was on my diligent shit too. The whole, did you hear me? I'm like, oh, like and retweet that space. You know what I'm saying? Become a subscriber, support the show. And I was just letting.
Let's make sure
just be
people
smart.
clipping do the right thing and go Burleson.
Dude, okay, Burleson reached out to me after Diligent Space, and he's like, hey, will you please correct the record? Grush isn't the one who briefed yada yada the president, the most powerful man in the world. Let's yada yada him anyway. Like he did. That's what he said. And so I go, you know what? Of course. And I had already corrected it, and I sent him the link to the thing, and he was like, thank you. I go, of course. So there was like trust was established there, and I wanted to continue that for sure. And I think that's he stayed for 3 hours. He left because he had to sleep. Like I have to.
Oh, he'll hang, bro. He's fucking cool like that. He's cool like that.
He also has the bug, bro. He loves this shit. Like he's
You-
just for
you-
answers like we all are.
I've got too much heat on me right now for what I'm covering, and I wouldn't want to. When you're like, will you come up here? I'm like, I don't want to bring that kind of heat on you. I don't want to bring that.
Oh, fuck
that
it, bro.
kind of
Fuck Trump, bro. Release the Epstein files, bro.
No, it's not fuck anybody. I just, like, dude, I'm under so much heat. Like, just people who co-host my spaces get attacked.
I can't believe the kind of heat you're on.
Can you tell us about it, actually? Because it's been a minute. I've seen it from the sidelines. What's been happening to you since you've been all in on the Epstein shit?
Where do I start, man? Shit you wouldn't believe. Well, you might, because you're UFO
Yeah,
Twitter.
I think they could actually help you, dude. You guys should help him out. Like, because
That's what I want to do. Let's do it right now. We know about, like, I'm sure there's similar tactics being deployed across. It's chaotic up here too. She's from the financial world where similar tactics, it sounds like, are being used. So what's happening to you, bro, since you've been doing this?
It's going on a month and a half, 2 months now, 2 months. At first, it was just like a light nudge from people that I knew wanting me to change the subject. They would like send me stories, people that I hadn't talked to, in weeks or months, or that I don't talk to often, people that we know in spaces. And they'd be like, oh, let's, check out this story. You guys, you want to go talk about this? You want to go talk about that? Because I had the biggest spaces. And I was like, no, man, I'm covering this. No, man, I'm covering this. And at first it was friendly. And then it got a little bit more like I was annoying, right? That I wouldn't change the subject. And then I think around Russiagate is like Trash and a couple of other people that I've been in spaces with started to tag me in posts. And they were all like repost each other, right? With those kind of posts. And it just kind of grew from there, right? And then like accounts that I've never even seen before, like that 0 hour account, or
they were dicks, Diligent. It wasn't just like kind of messing with you. They attacked you.
Yeah.
Sounds like there were some bots going on too, right?
There were some bots going on too. Yeah, there was some weird bot behavior, like with the posts that were attacking me, or even in the post that I was doing on Epstein that would get traction because. Bro, like when I was doing Epstein every day for the first 2 weeks there, we were averaging like 500,000 listeners a week, right? And I think that put us on a radar that they didn't like.
Oh yeah, and me and Tuba just talked to a real high profile YouTuber who was he wanted to get a lot of people are in the back channels wanted to know what the fuck's going on here because everyone could see it, and he was letting us know that China like is doing the same shit. Like this is it's the world we live in now, guys. This internet shit. If you make a post that goes viral about China or makes them look bad, you're gonna get all the same weirdo shit, bots posting pictures of your house, your family on spikes and shit like that. Is that not right, Tupa?
Yeah, this is terrifying, right? Because it's showing that they care about what we're doing. Diligent, we've been friends for a minute. You know what I mean? I've watched your spaces grow because of hard work and determination. You've elevated the quality of spaces, the value of spaces for everyone. You got sponsorships, you incorporated Grok, you know what I mean? You were trying to get Elon's attention, incorporating what the app wanted, right? You could have gone to YouTube or Twitch or TikTok. You stayed here, committed to the app, and I I agree with a lot of your shit, like a lot of it. You start covering something that almost seems like a dimensional shift, right? Where Trump goes from like, hey, we're gonna
We got libs of
expose the
TikTok
deep
with
state.
binders. We're gonna do this
Yes.
photo op, and now if you talk
Now
about it,
it's
you're
like,
not MAGA.
You're kind
Literally.
of corny. Like, you know, what are you talking about? You guys are still talking about that? Like, if you don't understand what that means, that's like a wink. Like, hey, bro, like, not now. Like, we got other shit. There's something else going on, whatever the fuck it was. And you clearly have other influencers who got the memo, right? And regardless, there's questions that were asked and answers that need to be given. And I'm with you, bro. Like, but look at what's happening. You're now going against the status quo, but you had the biggest spaces as far as I'm concerned, right? You had the biggest spaces naturally grown. People would flood in, huge names. Your focus on this was a big threat to somebody. And that zero whatever dude coming at you, like I watched him go after people who I thought were for like a week or so, right?
You know who he is now?
I don't know who he is. I have no idea. I stopped following him because it was.
I have no clue about
I
What's he
do.
been doing?
I'm
Can someone
gonna hit you up in the back channels.
explain what he's been doing to diligent people? I haven't seen this. Who's the zero guy?
Basically, he went from exposing people who were trying to dox ICE and doxing ICE, and he's like, "Oh, you
Oh,
shouldn't
that
fuck."
guy.
Yes, he's like, "You
Oh, is
shouldn't
this
fuck
0
with me."
hour?
Yeah, you shouldn't fuck with me. Like, you shouldn't fuck with
Yeah,
ICE, yada yada. And I'm with that shit. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. These doxers are getting their comeuppance. That's like watching scammers get, doxed and scammed. That's cool.
People
then it
that
goes
got the
from that-
platform from Diligent were attacking him. They would
Well,
never have people. He brought him up.
Well,
Finish up
so
this
he goes-
0 hour
So
bit. We could. Jenny, thank you.
now all of a sudden he's attacking Diligent for covering the Epstein files, the Epstein shit. For
Weird.
Because Diligent's like, not towing the line. It's like, yo, bro, we need answers. Like, there was a couple spaces in
So
that.
he went from
in that
shitting on
week
ICE
period.
to shitting on Diligent for covering Epstein. That's very weird.
Isn't that weird? Very weird.
It's almost like if I had to guess.
have some fucking shit to tell you guys about that.
Well, hold up. Let's
actually, I'll keep it to the back channel.
let's just let Diligent was about to say something though. Let's let.
Woo!
It's almost like if I had to guess, he's a proxy that is meant to post things that get MAGA riled up. But the way that he came out of nowhere, like I had no, you know what I mean? Like I have never engaged with that account. I didn't even know it existed until I started covering Epstein. And now that I've seen like the tactics that he uses, it's almost like hell, it's almost like the entire fucking thing. It's almost like they're doing things or saying things that they know MAGA will like, but then when it comes to certain issues or certain subjects, they break that facade just enough to try to wield the influence that they've garnered to shut down
That's right.
certain conversations.
That's right. Let me ingratiate myself with you. Now you trust me because I'm just like you. But what about that guy? We should actually stop talking about this stuff. You know what I mean? It's all this weird influence stuff, but China, I don't know, bro. He came out of nowhere. He had ways of getting information on people within minutes. Like,
Go on, break that down for people. Yeah.
well, there would be posts where he'd be like, yo, who the fuck is this? We'll see. And then like an hour later, it's like, is this you? Shut the fuck up. And it's like a photo. Like he was showing
Anonymous.
what I thought was he was.
This is the family of ICE agents, right? Family and
No,
friends.
the level of access that he's got is like government.
Anonymous.
No, it's like government. It's government.
Nope, it's anonymous. That dude is like
No,
a
it's not.
hacker.
No,
Okay.
it's not. No.
Okay. I'll show you.
Well, he dated a friend of mine, right? Moved over for a week, and then she kicked him the fuck out. And
What?
this is
He's been on the platform for years.
dude. This is right before.
Tell us about
this
that
shit.
then, Fleck.
Dude, I'm not gonna out my homegirl. I'll have her hit you guys up so you can get all the dirt.
Tell us some tea, though.
I'm not gonna dox anybody either. You know,
Yeah, I'm not asking you to dox her.
no, even him, because this is a fucking lunatic.
Yeah,
but he moved
it's not
in.
good to be. Let's not be doxing people. Let's not dox
No,
anybody.
that's
That's what I'm saying. Like,
You don't want this
I'm
one. You
gonna
do not
leave it
want this
real-
one.
I'm gonna be real vague. I'm just gonna say he moved in. She didn't like his whole fucking style and asked him to fucking leave. And then he started fucking with her. And I mean, like, this is within this last month and a half. Around, like, oh my god, because I seen him fucking. This is the funniest thing. They were dating. He fucked around, got jealous about like memes and bullshit online. Pissed her off. She told him to fuck off.
Dude, the language.
Oh, come on, Taylor. Not now.
Every other word, though.
Who gives a fuck?
I'm just saying, have some decency.
I just like after I've researched it though, right? There was certain cues. Whether or not you say he's a hacker is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if he's a hacker. If he's a proxy for the government, okay, that means that he's acting on behalf of the government. He might not be working in the FBI.
So check this out, Denizen. Check this out. It was about a month and a half ago that this shit happened with her, right? He went from fucking around with her and the Q community doxing people there to the ICE shit, then to UFO fucking Twitter, because I saw him adding basically everybody that I was following. He started adding people off of my shit because I was friends with her. Like he's a jealous fuck too. So like that's why
that has nothing to do with me.
No, I know. I'm just pointing out where I think he's.
I haven't talked to Diligent in a while. Let's
Twitter
stop cutting off Diligent if we could do that. God bless everyone. Love you, brother. To Diligent, explain what's been happening to you in detail. Anyone cuts you off, they're getting dropped.
All right. Okay. So where was I? This is the 0 hour guy. People that I had met last year, campaigning. You know, when I was like advocating for people to vote for Trump. I went to all of those different Trump rallies. You guys know I hosted spaces at the fucking standing in line overnight at the rallies. And I would meet these people at events and at rallies and all kind like, you know, worked with them in some to some degree in person. I've met them. And they all just fucking that there was like one day where I saw a couple of them like hosting a space where they would just like host spaces all day talking about me. All day, dude. All day spaces.
These
like
are your old friends about you. And what were they saying about you?
Yeah,
Trash
bro.
Discourse.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a big one. He's a big one. Trash is a big one. And he's got a big,
Jenny,
big voice.
Let me finish. So he doesn't really have that big of a voice, but anyways, it was like they were like accumulating, right? Like it wasn't just trash, it wasn't just another one. It was like I want to say like 5 or 6 of the people that I was supporting all last year in spaces, people I've tried to help, you know, grow their platforms. Just because I would not stalk, and they would lie. Like they would say that I was calling Trump a pedo, or I was calling other MAGA a pedo, or I was calling Republicans a pedo. None of that's true. Like you can go ask Grok to search. Well, I don't know if it works for people who don't have heavy, but you can, or just do a search if you don't like want to ask Grok. You can just search my profile. I've never said that. I've always been objective. Right. I'm open to the idea that he might be compromised, but I've never said he was. I've never alluded to the fact that he was. In my spaces, I've actually been very careful to not let people say that about him or anybody else for that matter without
Tyler
evidence.
was telling us how you keep a tight ship over there. And like, you know, I mean, you don't.
Yeah, bro. I kept it really fact-based, really strict the entire time. And just because, especially when they tried to change the subject to, and this is really when it kicked off hot. When they tried to change the subject to Russiagate, and I was like, Russiagate's a nothing burger. Bro, they fucking came at me hard. I mean, all kinds of people with big platforms started coming at me hard. And there was a point where I was doing the late night R&D spaces. And so I think Democrats, you know, some Democrats anyways, or anti-Trumpers, saw an opportunity they thought that I was going to be their guy. Because here I am, you know, I have 130,000, 125,000 followers, which ain't shit to me, but the listeners was where my values is at. And I have the biggest spaces on X, and I'm going against the grain. And so I think that a bunch of, you know, MAGA thought I was betraying them, and a bunch of Democrats thought I was joining forces. And then when they got there, they're like, oh, well, why aren't you saying this about Trump? And I'm like, well, we don't have any evidence of that. So I didn't. So then I got them both pissed off at me because I'm not doing what they want. But while I'm doing the R&D spaces, a couple of because they brought over a whole bunch of like survivors, like sexual abuse survivors and like sexual abuse victims and victims advocates started following me and subscribing and coming to my after spaces. And one of them is like a hardcore, or like a centrist. She said she was like a left of center Democrat. And I'm not trying to be political, but that's how she described herself. And she introduced me to that Brian guy. She's like, you know what? I have a guy who has a lot of experience in this. I would like you to talk to him. I was like, who is it? And she told me. And when I looked, he had me blocked. And I've never engaged with the dude. He just had me blocked. And I was like, well, he has me blocked, so I guess that's not happening. Well, she talked to him, and then I started to, she invited him to one of our spaces, or I went into one of their spaces and just listened, and it was okay. And then I went and started hosting my own spaces, and this guy came into my space, and I'm just like the natural evolution of my investigation led me to the CIA, right? Because Acosta said that Epstein was intelligent. That's a verified fact. And that's why he gave him such a sweetheart plea deal in 2008. And when you look at the scope of Epstein, you have Bill Clinton. While Bill Clinton was in office, Epstein got covered by the FBI. Two minors, went and turned him in 1996. FBI never did a thing with it. They said that he raped them, and they never even looked into it. They never followed up with them girls. And that's how long this thing is stretched from Clinton under Bush. That's when he got.
And did you notice something came out recently? I feel like Jelaine was just leaking shit, and that's why Trump flipped. But a story came out that Epstein had blackmailed Clinton during his presidency. Did you pick that up? I'm sure you probably covered it because you were doing the minutia. But last few months or so, that came out like right around the time of that note, right? I think she was leaking shit from jail.
I haven't. None of that shit had any primary evidence. So if it didn't have receipts, then I didn't buy into it. I think it was all propaganda.
It's all connected, and I agree with you that he's an intel guy. Sorry for cutting you off there, Flo.
So when I got to the part where I'm like looking at the CIA, that's when this Brian guy gets in there, and he actually starts. And I thought he was just participating in the conversation. He actually starts to debate with me about the CIA's role. And I'm like, and he was defending the CIA. And I'm like, why are you defending the CIA? He's like, I served in the CIA. Turns out old boy fucking served in the CIA under Clinton and under Bush with fucking, what's her name? He served under Bush with Condoleezza Rice. Worked for Condoleezza Rice. And so, he's an attorney, and he used to work for the CIA, and he says he tells me he's an attorney. He doesn't tell me anything other than that. Well, I debate him for like 3 or 4 days, and during the course of these days, he even he's like, he offered to do FOIA requests on behalf of my efforts to try to get Epstein documents unsealed, and I thought that was pretty nice of him, I guess. Like, okay, sure. Well, I was saying he wasn't in the space, but it came up, and I was like, yeah, hey, Brian said that he's going to do FOIA requests for us. I mean, he's with the CIA, or he used to be with the CIA, and I guess he didn't like that. So then he tweets this out. Okay, he tweets this out. Tupa, did you read it?
No, I don't think so. Oh shit.
Scroll. Look at your messages. Start with the first screenshot and then read the second one for our listeners.
It says a friend said go easy on Diligent because you've been doxxed.
No, it doesn't say on. You have to be very specific here.
Oh, a friend said go easy, Diligent, because you've been doxxed. But quit using, quote, the CIA to cover your pedophile president. Shame on you, speaking for the underage victims. And keep my name out of your fucking mouth. Keep it up, and you are enabling pedophilia. Do better.
And then where does Brian work?
Palintir. Brian's a long-time senior counsel to Palintir and serves as the executive director of the PCAP. He works in, Brian is executive director of the University of California, Irvine Cybersecurity Policy and Research Institute, and has practiced privacy, cybersecurity, and data protection law for nearly 2 decades.
So a CIA agent and Palantir senior advisor posts out on the timeline that I need to be careful because I've been doxxed, and for me to quit using the CIA as an excuse for my pedophile president, Trump. That's what he was saying. So a senior face of Palantir and a career CIA agent came out on the timeline and told me I need to be careful because they know who I am, and that.
And this is the same guy who was trying to be your friend, right, and get in with the FOIAs with you?
Yes.
Yep, exactly. This is what they do. I mean, over here, it's happened recently. There's brand new people coming in spaces wanting to help me do FOIAs. I'm like, who are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I stopped talking. There's a few people that came up trying to do FOIAs, and I stopped talking to all of them. But so what's significant is if you look at the timeline, when he came out and said that, it was the very same time that Zero guy peaked, like attacking me, trying to dox me, threatening me. Those correlated at exactly the same time. Exactly the same time.
That's always good to do too. But you should have a spreadsheet of all this shit, and then you'll see patterns emerge like that that you didn't even notice.
I have a spreadsheet in my head. I found it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but so anyways, so I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, well, I just put 2 and 2 together on the timeline because I hadn't really been paying attention to either one of them. But they kept it would go in waves. So like it peaked there on the 20th, where both that guy was attacking me and the CIA guy was attacking me, but I was getting so much heat and I was not getting any sleep. So I kind of I feel like I was and I was doing 2 spaces a day, 8 hours. And so I was just kind of fucking running myself ragged between posting and researching and working on the Grok prompt engineering and just all of the shit that I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, that those 2 motherfuckers came at me at exactly the same time, which is why it makes me think that he was government, or at least he's, a proxy of, right? And so, or in a circle of with somebody who is, right? Maybe on
well, they would love to use a retard. It's kind of like KMF, right? Like they love to use a internet psycho to feed their little info, so it's not just Mr. with the suit and direct connections to Palantir doing it. It's known internet crazy doing it.
Yeah, but the patterns there, and even then, so my account takes a fucking huge hit. I mean, a huge hit. I lost about 1,000 followers, but I actually gained most of them back now. And my spaces take a huge hit. My account is being fucking heavily suppressed. The reach has been crazy, and I just kind of pushed through. And my spaces, relatively, even though I've been talking about the same subject for 2 months now, which is, if anybody's listened to my spaces for the last 2 years, I never do that, right? I never fucking do that. I always cater to the listener, right? I'm going to keep it fresh, what's interesting, and what's relevant to the top, to the news feed. But what I realized throughout this entire thing, that the news feed is all bullshit. It's just meant to keep us occupied and not focusing on the things that really matter. And now that I'm and I have a good way of articulating it, which I think makes me in the ass, which is probably why they came at me so hard. Especially when I started, if I say shit and I'm fact based, it's not something that you can dismiss like it's a wild harebrained theory, because I'm always posting the receipts too. And so, that I'm almost done too. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. You're good. Real quick though, I did put up in the nest. I want you to connect with this guy, Diligent Mouthy Buddha. Everyone go comment, like that comment. Let's get his attention here, because he was a YouTuber, made a really in-depth series about Pizzagate and Epstein, and then he started getting fucked with. And I would love for you guys to be able to connect in the back channels and just talk about some of the stuff you're going through. You know what I mean?
I just followed him. Yeah, me and Mouthy were talking for a little bit. He was going to come into a space. You know what I mean? The crossover there is huge. I think that'd be awesome, Red.
It's because just so you know, you're not crazy, right? These are, like I said, this is the world we live in. It happens here. It happens if you cover China. You're not crazy. You know what I mean? A lot of people will be
No,
like,
I
"Oh, it's
wasn't
just
thinking
drama."
I was crazy. It's. I think it's evident enough to where other people see it. So it's like you said, you guys, Tupa just told you the first half of the story without me having to say a fucking word, and I barely talked to him. He knows because he sees it. People see it, right?
Well, we lived it, like, you know what I mean? It's similar tactics. And the interesting thing is that I'm talking to a lot of different communities, right? AI artist communities and whatnot, and meeting them in person, and they say the same shit. Similar things are happening in an effort to control the conversation online. These same tactics are being utilized almost in a cookie cutter assembly line fashion. It is very strange how they're utilizing
But it
these
also makes
social
sense,
pressures.
right? It's like this is just the world we live in now, and one segment of society has been put on game, and they know what how to do it, right? And the rest of us still think it's like 2004, right? And it's just like, oh, the internet, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
I
not.
think that.
Yeah, totally.
Well, and and we're so inundated with so much information all the time. Man, I keep coming back to the Matrix movie where people told where he was telling Neo when he was like training Neo about the agents and telling him that anybody in the Matrix is potentially an agent because they're so plugged into this system that they'll actually fight to defend it. They're so dependent upon it that they'll fight to defend it because the reality is so hard to deal with, right? Like it is so that's where I'm at. Like I've had to come to
The
grips
Matrix
with.
phase is so much easier than the Dark Knight phase, which comes next. So you'll be there soon.
No, I'm just saying, like I'm just thinking in the abstract. I was just trying to use an analogy.
No, really, and they all know how to do this too. They've got it down to a T. Our other friend, Hepatitis, talked about it a lot of times too. They won't even be agents doing it. They just know how to push and prod people already on like social engineering type shit, neurolinguistic
It's
programming
nudging.
type shit.
They
Yep,
just nudge
exactly.
people.
Nudging is a very good term, and the utilization of like key figures in order to create the pressure and the illusion that it's everyone. You know what I mean? Like you're the odd man out. You shouldn't do
So
that.
I haven't told you about the scariest part yet.
No
So
one
the
cut him off.
scariest part was about a week after that thing, or maybe 4 days after that thing. So at the same time this had occurred, because I was hosting, I ordered a replacement AirPods, and it was from California, so it was in the country. I ordered it on eBay, and first time ever in my life, I was like thinking one night, I was like, where the fuck are my AirPods? They should have been here 2 days ago. And I get into the eBay app and it says intercepted, big red letters. Like, what? Intercepted? Intercepted by USPS? What? And then I click on the fucking thing and it says that USPS intercepted my AirPods. And it was, it was like, I click on it and it would say, the sender has requested that we intercept this package, yada yada yada. You'll have to contact the sender. I was like, okay. So I fucking go to eBay. I send the sender. He had a really good eBay record. That's why I used him. I send him a screenshot of that message, and he's like, I have no fucking clue what that's about. I've never ever stopped order on a fucking on a on a on a customer on a customer. And I was like, well, he's like, you should reach out to them. I'm like, well, they said that you had to reach out to them. I was like, you sent it, you mailed it, you reach out to them. And so he messages me back the next day, and he's like, I messaged them. They said that they can't get back to me for a week. And I'm like, what? And so then I'm like, whatever, fuck it, I'm not going down there. Because I was like, I thought that's what they were trying to. I was like, I'm not going down there. That's so fucking odd that happened, though. Never in my life have I had that happen, and I don't do anything wrong. Like, there's no reason that should have occurred. And so I was like, okay, well, 2 days later, okay, 2 days later, a person drops it off to where I'm at, and I didn't answer the door. And a person. I'm trying to think how I can word this without giving away too much information. A person drops it off to where I'm at, and I didn't answer the door, so I didn't see this interaction. But it was on a weekend in the evening, and the package is open. And let's just say this is a really tight-knit community, and the person who opened the door has never seen the person that delivered my package before in their life. And so the person says, hey, this was dropped off at my house by accident. Once I realized it wasn't mine, I thought to bring it to you. And it was opened. And I was like, and this was, okay, 2 days after or 3 days after it had been said it was intercepted. So the narrative is that I order this thing, it gets intercepted by USPS, and then on a weekend, right? On a weekend, it gets delivered to where it's supposed to go by somebody who got it at the wrong address and opened it and then brought it down because it was in a sealed envelope.
Yeah, delivered by a non-employee.
By a non-employee, yeah, by a non-postal worker, right?
And
right.
It's open. Okay, so and AirPods are they're known. I mean, people. Who is it? Kamala Harris. Didn't she just come out and say like, yeah, I don't use those AirPods. Like, basically, like you're not the only one listening.
Yeah, Chaotic
so
just commented.
If you look into the Snowden leaks, there's a program that well, I'm sure that it's moved to smaller electronics by now. But if you look at the Snowden leaks, it was a well-used tactic where if a target would order electronics online, they would intercept the electronics and then install custom firmwares or tracking devices or listening devices within those packages before they got back to the owner.
It sounds like classic intimidation.
So the second time it happened, okay, let me just say this. The last 2 times, never in my life have I ever had a package not show up. Okay. One is from, I'm not going to say the second one because it would definitely give away too much. I'll just say this. These carriers have, they consistently deliver with receipts every single time. The first time it gets intercepted, a non fucking employee delivers the package. I don't know. Let me just say this. I didn't keep the AirPod. I can tell you that much. But the second package just doesn't show up. I get a picture of the area where it was supposed to have been delivered, and it's not there. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I reported it to the carrier, and they just gave me some kind of weird automated response. And then the email that they sent me that had the picture of where it was delivered got fucking scrubbed. The image in I can, like, if I wanted to dox myself, I could show you the email right now and show you where I screenshotted it when I first got it, and I showed it to somebody. I'm like, what the fuck is? I was like, where is this? It says it's here. And then I was telling my attorney about it, because I've hired a federal attorney as a result of all this weird shit. And I was telling my attorney about it, and he's like, well, send me. He's like, look, he's like, where is it? I want to see this. So I go to look for the email, and I can't find the fucking email, or I couldn't find what I thought was the email, because when I opened the email, the image of the delivery is gone. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's when I started. I'm like, am I going crazy? But that shit, when it it's closer to home, or it affects people that which is not just in real life, but online, where people who I have listeners that were DMing me saying that they've been getting intimidated, or they'll get harassed if they're seen listening to my spaces. Just visibly.
Yeah,
Just
go into detail about more of that. I'm really curious about that. And your co-host too.
Well, so there was one day there was about 3 or 4 women, 3 women that messaged me within a 24-hour period and said that they were getting harassed by people who frequent other spaces or other spaces hosts for listening to my spaces. And and in the timeline too, like they would get like these spaces hosts or these people would be in my comment section. They wouldn't come into my space, right? They wouldn't come speak on my space, but they were putting propaganda down in my reply section, and my replies were getting like 1,000 to 2,000 comments. Like it was fucking lit in my reply section, right? And so all of my listeners are down there, you know, talking and conversating and debating or whatever. But it was being used to target listeners. And so I started getting complaints, you know, or I guess they were just telling me about it. And I got pissed off. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I saw that, I probably acted out of a little bit of emotion a little bit more because I don't fucking like that shit. I don't like fucking bullies, and I don't like fucking people intimidating women and trying to fuck like all that.
Especially
All
when it's
that
like tied
shit.
to you, right? It's like because of me now, this poor woman who isn't even trying to do anything is getting fucking dealing with all this bullshit.
It's fucking straight up like Kim Jong-un level. It's like Mao's China, fucking communist tactics, bro. Like this is where we were at. And so I got angry and called a couple of people out, and it hasn't happened since. But I was also getting DMs from listeners telling me that they just listen anonymous because they didn't want to be targeted. And then I've gotten messages, really supportive messages this entire time, really, to be honest with you, that kind of like gave me some hope that of like, there'd be listeners that are longtime listeners of mine, like for years now. And they would say, you know what, really thank you for sticking to your principles, and thank you for asking the questions that we can't because we're afraid we're going to get targeted. And that kind of shit like kind of keeps me going. Noxie, who is my co-host, and this is really where it gets even weirder. Noxie, who's been my co-host, well, she is I think she came into the scene because Massey came into my space, and she's a Massey Republican. She has been co-hosting my spaces for a few weeks now, and she's been getting harassed. She put it in the group chat. You guys know my spaces group chat. She put it in the group chat that she was getting harassed. Or no, she's not in my group chat. I'm sorry. She told me privately she was getting harassed on the timeline and then in the messages. And I actually told her to not engage. I'm like, just block anybody who's harassing you on the timeline, because I kind of feel like the whole harassment and to get you to argue on the timeline is a distraction tactic in and of itself. It's to wear you out, right? And
Get you to
fatigue
slip
you.
up, say something stupid that they can then weaponize. You know what I mean?
There's just like so much there, right? And so I've learned that myself of like to not engage too much. I never blocked people because I thought it was an infringement on speech because I'm a Spaces host and they can't listen, right? So I refused to block people unless it was an extreme circumstance for the longest time. I've blocked more fucking people in the last 2 months than I have in the last 3 years I've been on this platform, by fucking far, probably tenfold, just to not fucking deal with them. But anyways, so she told me that she was getting harassed. And then if you guys know, what's her name, that hangs out with Hit Slap all the time. She's kind of cute. You know what I'm talking about, Tupa?
The blonde girl you took pictures
Destiny?
with at that one event?
No. This is the Spaces. She's on Spaces.
Destiny?
No, not Destiny. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So there's this chick, Zintani. Okay, Zintani. Zintani co-hosted for me one time and got fucking harassed in the DMs and on the timeline just for being my co-host. But Noxie, okay, we've been talking about Palintir and shit. Well, there is this state level senator who has been listening to my spaces for a couple of years now. And he hasn't come up he's come up as speakers a couple of times, but he listens to my spaces religiously and always has. And so he's been paying attention to all of this shit, right? Especially when we got into the conversation about Palantir, and it looks like a police state is emerging right now, and all of this shit, and the spying and Epstein and all of it. And so Noxie, that's her senator. Like, she is a constituent of his. And so she talks to him. They work together in their local politics. Well, she was calling. We had a really good late night space one night, and it was probably the biggest space that I had in a while, which I think kind of put me back on the radar because it was like I was recovering from all of the hits they had given. And they fucking get one of those, this call is being recorded in the middle of their Palantir conversation on the phone.
Holy shit.
And they were talking about Palantir and surveillance and everything when it happened. And this is a senator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're both on speakerphone, right? So like the phone is like sitting down. So they're not touching their phones. They didn't activate an app, right? They didn't activate because I think iPhone has a built-in call recording where Siri comes in and she's like, "Call's being recorded," or something, right? And it wasn't like that at all. He actually came into my space. I think I clipped it and then I posted it. If you look at my highlights, I believe it's there, not too far down, where I clipped where he was telling that story. But and then so after that, you know, I've had an intelligence guy or a guy who claimed to be intelligence. And let me just say, the senator that came into my space, he is a 11-year Navy intelligence officer veteran. He was a state representative. Okay. He's a state senator now, and he worked as a Treasury Department appointee under Trump in the first term of office when he in 2016 to 2020. He worked for Trump directly for 3 years in the Treasury Department. So this guy is not like a nobody, right? And when he was talking about Palantir to one of his constituents, he got fucking, this call is being recorded, which he's, you know, we all figured, and he figured. When I asked him, I was like, "What do you think that was?" And he says, "I think it was intimidation." That's exactly what I think it was, and I have to agree. And so let me think. There's something else. Oh, so this intelligence, this former, you know, this guy who identifies as former intelligence comes into my spaces around the same time, and I was kind of like, he's been listening. He's like, "I'm listening to what's happening to you." He's like, you are pissing the wrong kind of people off because you're talking about things they don't want talked about. And these things are nudges. That's how he described it. That's right. He used the term. He's like, and then he told me which makes me think that he is probably either intelligence or former intelligence, because the things that he said made sense. And then when I looked some of them up, they were true. So he's like, you know, he comes out and he tells me, he's like, "Dude, publicly declare that you're not suicidal. Publicly declare that you're not going on vacation. Publicly declare that you're not a pedophile." And I'm like, "Bro, if I come out and say that I'm not a pedophile or I don't have, you know, child porn on my shit, they're going to fucking think that's an admission in and of itself." And so the best thing I could think of to do was to post his clip of him telling me to say that. I was like, okay, I'll just show people that that's what I'm being told. And it was so weird, like super fucking surreal.
Is that
And
still
so I
up?
did. Oh yeah, all that shit's still up.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
All that, it's in my highlights. All that shit's in my highlights. And so it's my pinned post. I'm leaving it as my pinned post. That's staying in my pinned post. And so that was probably the last. And so, you know, when I started hitting numbers again, that 0 hour started attacking me again. And so did that Brian guy, both at the same time. And that's actually when it flagged in my head. This is a few days ago. That was when I put two and two together. And it's like, these guys are working in tandem.
Was it just
because
numbers or any topics in particular that you were covering those days, you think, too, as well?
My topics have been consistent, but they're all adjacent, right? Which is the rising authoritarianism that I'm seeing. And I'm kind of tying it all together in each episode. And I think it was the numbers, because I think if you don't get numbers, you know, it doesn't matter what you talk about, because you're not impacting their narrative that much. But when I held on to Epstein and they were trying to move on, and I was effective at holding on to Epstein, that was when I think I became a threat to them. And then when I started having both Democrats and Republicans listening to me, I also think I became more of a threat. because it was like a single issue that people could get behind. So yeah, that's I think that's probably the most of the juicy tidbits.
Can I just say I've seen this before personally with my friends where there are people, they're all friends in the back channels, they're all friends, but there's bullies that'll come out and do the actual like illegal harassment behavior to you, right? And then when you react to that, and I don't know, and then there's people in the back channels that don't like express that, but they are the ones feeding the information to these people. And we've seen it before with our friends where like it's almost like reactive abuse where like someone will say, look at these guys, they're being jerks, blah blah blah, and then the people that are in the back channels, they'll like get upset about the whole situation. You know what I mean? It's a very, it's a tactic that I've seen been used. You know, Red Panda knows what I'm talking about.
Careful for honeypots, not even kidding. And honestly, bro, Epstein stuff is where people get really touched a lot lately. So just be careful. Stay strapped.
Epstein is
Put everything
intense, and then we
publicly.
learned that like there was like gravity studies or whatever. Like he was into gravity. What the fuck was that? Really?
I didn't get into any of that shit. Yeah, I because I try to stay away from anything that they can use to try to shut me down, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get Reptile Hybrid up here because I know he knows a lot about this shit. He can probably put you on some good game
Reptile.
too.
God,
People don't really get it, bro. They just, oh, it's just dumb drama or shit, you know what I mean? But no, there's a lot of money being spent on these online. We flipped Arab Spring was all fucking via Twitter, right? Like money gets put into this, narrative control is a real thing. You start talking about certain things, weirdo shit happens to you.
I mean, there is something happening at the country, you know, our country is in the middle of a change. I'll say that. It's 100%. Our country is in the middle of a change away from what it has been. And we are at the execution part of a very long plan. And we are so close. And I mean, maybe weeks to months away from being able to stop it. I think if we can stop it at all, we might be too far along. But from what I can see, anyways, like they're using ICE as they're using. Remember what I was saying earlier about they're using the issues that resonate with MAGA to like infiltrate, and that's like that 0 Hour guy. You said that he was going after ICE. But then all of a sudden, when I started talking about Epstein, he's going after me, which didn't add up. Yeah. And the same thing's happening with Trump at scale right now, where they used all the issues that we cared about. They left the border open for 4 years, right? Well, let me just anomaly I found today. They stopped reporting the deportation numbers in November. What happened in November?
Well,
anybody?
That was the switchover, wasn't it?
So Trump was elected in November, right? But who was in charge of the country in November?
Biden.
So they stopped reporting deportation numbers in November. They're still not reporting them now.
Well, it's like those guys had a plan and they didn't plan to lose. So now we're seeing the government, like, it takes more time. Like, he's elected, sure, but then, you have to actually switch everything. And I guess they can fight
So
lose.
this is the longest. This is the longest that they've gone without reporting ICE or Department of Homeland Security data in 6 years. 6 years. There has never been
counterterrorism efforts or measures to keep things kind of quiet.
No, because they're coming out with press releases. This is all this data would be the data of they're saying that there's 1.5 million self-deportations. Well, there is an app table, a data table that they would normally post to the DHS website where you could look at the scientific data and confirm it's evidence. The same thing with the deportation numbers. That all gets logged in their system, and there's a table. It's called a table. And that table of deportation data has been posted monthly for years under the Biden administration. Even they stopped it when Trump won the election. And so even though there was discrepancies with the Biden data or how it was reported or how they did the math, they at least posted it up there. But when they posted up there,
it puts it under scrutiny. That's why Biden got so much heat, because his numbers weren't adding up. Well, if you don't post the data, people can't see if the numbers don't add up. Well, since Trump's been in office, and I voted for Trump for him to deport people. I want him to deport people. Since he's been in office, under Biden and under Trump, they have stopped giving us the receipts. Okay? The fact of the matter is, if you don't accept the official press release narrative of Kristi Noem or any of the people at the front of the administration, and you go by evidence, okay, the numbers that are provable are half of what they are saying they are, and they're only on track if you do the trajectory of the math. Out of 180,000 people up to 8 months into the presidency, that only goes up to, let's see, 200,000 in a year, maybe a million people during the 4 years out of 15 million. Well, if that's the case, and they're only deporting a million people, okay, why are they expanding ICE so much? Why do you have Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz? Why are you building these massive prison facilities that you say are for deportees, but you're not filling them up? What? Why are you sending troops into all of 32 cities? They're getting ready to send federal troops. They've deputized all of the different federal agencies under one banner, under the DOJ, and they're telling you, oh, well, it's just DC right now. They are literally telling you, you can go look on my timeline, that they are going to do this in all of the major cities around the United States under the same pretense that they did during the LA riots. Pam Bondi said it today. They're telling you what they're going to do. I'm telling you. And it doesn't add up, because they're not going to be able, they're not deporting these people. If they're not deporting the illegals, why are they building a massive federal police force? Why are they building?
So what do you think is happening here? After you looked at everything, what do you think what's the next step for them?
They're incorporating the China model. That's the only conclusion I can draw. That they are building the exact same, or maybe even better, probably better. They're competing with China for that autocracy or authoritarian model. I think that's where we're at. And I don't know if they're doing it. Like,
how could they pull that off so abruptly? Like,
it is happening so fast because people are so fucking, because Trump was a populist president, and the majority voted for him, because they created all of the culture wars leading up to that point. They have all of the shit. They have shit on the people. Rome did the same thing. They shit on the people so much, right, and riled them up, that we were just clamoring for a savior, right, and we couldn't understand why. Why was our own party, the Republican Party, worthless during the Biden administration? And so we were like, everybody thinks Trump's going to save us. I have no fucking explanation why we're seeing this behavior out of Trump. Like, I'm at a loss still, dude, because I've gone to fucking bat for him with Reptile. Reptile would have his TDS rants late at night in Spaces, and I would sit there and argue with Reptile defending Trump for hours. You know what I mean? Like, that was I was not about it. And for me to see this happening, I don't have any fucking rational explanation to see this change. But I fucking 100, dude, I put my soul on it. This is what's happening. Like, I swear on my life, I am observing at a 50,000 foot level an authoritarian regime fucking enacting some sort of level of martial law right now. And people, because it's under the guise of getting rid of illegals that they're not doing, okay, or at least the numbers don't prove that they're doing. And because it's under that guise, and because Democrats have been allowed to let their cities fester into crime-ridden shitholes for years, which I think was also intentional. Okay, we're looking at a Hegelian dialectic where they have created a problem, a border down for 4 years, mass crime in these cities. They created a problem. That way there was a legal framework for Trump to operate under and invoke the Insurrection Act, which is what he's getting ready to do. And what that Insurrection Act does completely changes the landscape and the dynamics of the executive branch, because it means that we're at war. We've been invaded. and we're at it's almost like a Civil War declaration. That's pretty much what's happening right now. Is a slow roll Civil War declaration, and Republicans are cheering it on because the Democrats are supposed to be the bad guys. Well, a lot of them are disillusioned with their own party as well. I found out, during the last few weeks, right? And so I keep trying to tell people, I'm like, if we're building this massive fucking police force right now, right? And it was used against you during Biden. Look, think about J6. What did they do in J6? They arrested 3,000 people within weeks. How did they do that? They used all of this fucking technology that they're rolling, that they're beefing up right now. They used all of it. I think that was a test run. That was a fucking test run, is what that was. And when the FBI went and fucking pulled pro-lifers out of their houses under Biden, that was all it was all to see how fast they could do it. It was all a test run. And now, right now, the same Republicans are cheering for for this building of this massive police force with no fucking hindsight or no foresight at all, other than it's the media grip. It's not just it's the tribalism, it's the dichotomy, the culture war and the tribalistic dichotomy. The propaganda is strong. I've been really good at seeing the propaganda now. I was a part of the propaganda. I didn't realize it, right? Because you take cues when you're like competing to be in the news feed. You want to be the first one, and you want engagement, you want to be effective, and yada yada.
Look,
yada.
we got a live one. We got Mrs. Claus, brand new account from April 2025, just posting all these dick memes about Diligent in the space. Love it. I love when they do that because they show themselves. And also, we did get Reptile up here. Reptile, we both talked about you. I feel like you know a lot about this shit that Dill's been dealing with, especially since he's diving deep into Epstein and shit. We all remember what happened earlier this year, right? Put Dill on some game. What can you expect? Give him some kudos. Lift him up. And what are your thoughts on all this, Reptile?
I love Reptile.
And then we'll get to Chaotic after, but Reptile was mentioned.
Absolutely, guys. This is really important what Diligent's touching on here. And it's, again, full hats off to Diligent and for anyone who's actually speaking out about this stuff. The New World Agenda, guys, it's a New World Order agenda. It's a very, very long game. The horrible truth is who's the enemy, we're the enemy. And I hate to say it, especially the American people, mate, because you guys have your freedom. You've got your First and your Second Amendment. And what is the ultimate plan here? They actually want to get rid of us. When you have a look at it in hindsight, all this COVID manipulation, the Alcatraz that they want to build here in Australia, they've built these facilities that were meant to be for quarantine camps, unused. What's really going on here? These guys are playing the long game. China isn't the enemy. They're all being taken care of. There's very little freedom around the world. You have a look at it on Spaces, which again, what's going on here on Spaces? This is a full agenda right now. We are the enemy. We're under attack. And if you have a look at what they just did with this injection that I don't want to keep bringing up, that killed millions of people, but there's still a problem. That's the people that are talking out, that are speaking out against this stuff, whether it's the UFO issue, the false flag issue, the health issue with all these goddamn vaccines, mate. And it's stepping stones bit by bit, and that's what we're dealing with. And I hate to say it, man, Trump was the Trojan horse for this. They had to get some seemingly patriotic guy that the good, red-blooded, salt of the earth Americans were going to fall for. That's what they've done. Now, if you don't mind too, Red Panda, I might put something just in the comments section there, bro, because I did a space playing David Goldberg. I'm not saying for sure it's 100% true, but he speaks about Project Pogo and Project Zephyr. I thought it was ridiculous when I first heard it. Now it's all coming to fruition.
What's that
Ladies
about?
and gentlemen, it talks about, first of all, Project Pogo, which is designed to infiltrate all social media. This is back when they were going to do it through YouTube. They decided to do a different tact, and I believe X is the main focus of Project Pogo, which is to infiltrate social media, and listen to me, dudes, to tag and track everybody who's speaking out. Is it possible that this unfettered freedom that we've got here has actually been designed to tag and track people who have the balls to speak up? Because we're the only problem for them. They've got everything wrapped up. They've got the AI, they've got the tech, the robots are coming. There's only a few people in a few different nations that have had enough. They know what's going on. They got a bit of money behind them. They got good parents and a good family lineage. We are the enemy. We're the people who they want to take out. And no shit, Red Panda. Project Zephyr talks about the ultimate goal. That's the extermination of these people who are speaking up. Now, how they're going to go about doing this, we don't know, but he talks about nationwide blackouts that they're going to do, targeted blackouts, where I know it sounds crazy. That's when the vans will be rocking up and taking people that they've targeted and tracked. This is a possibility. Hats off to Diligent. Hats off to all of us who are speaking the truth. We've got to watch our back. We've been infiltrated. They're coming, guys.
They are. Oh, Reptile dropped on that one. Nice. Come back up. I want.
He has the best mic drops, bro. He has the best mic
I
drops.
love him so much. Like, seriously.
Did she cut out for anyone else? Or
She runs.
Yeah, she cut out for me.
Gabagool. All right.
Yo, gabagool.
Guess we'll go around to some hands. Chaotic then Kent. Dill, take any priority you want. Dill's the fourth co-host.
Is it me?
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
good?
All you.
Can we all agree collectively right now in this moment that if someone identifies as a former acronym agency, anything, maybe don't talk to them? Just saying.
Yeah, I was already
I
talking to
think
him for a
that's
while.
I
It
think
was
that's
in
it's just a good rule of thumb.
Hey
Because there
man,
is no such thing.
I listen. If anybody knows me, I let anybody, as long as they're respectful, come up on my stage. This is how I roll.
I think we can agree on at least be aware if the person you're talking to is from
I'm just saying.
because they got pensions and
I
stuff.
just
They got retirement funds, and if they're still playing the game, you know what I mean?
If anything, I'm really grateful that he did, because that post he made is very damning, right? Like, it is that threat. Like, if he's intelligence and he works for Palantir and I'm drawing that kind of heat, and if something happens to me in the middle of that, that's a really bad look for him and his company, right? So
Okay, but the CIA was Palantir's first ever customer. It really doesn't surprise me to hear that someone who says they're former CIA would end up in the higher rungs of Palantir when they go from government to private sector.
CIA started Palantir. They actually gave $2 million in seed funding to Palantir.
That's what I just said. They were their first customer.
No, they not their first customer. Well, they were their first customer, but they actually started it. Like, they seed funded it before it was even really a company. InQtel, which is the CIA's venture capital firm, which has also spawned 800 other similar
One of which
companies
is
to
Pokemon Go.
Palantir.
That's a fact.
In other words, it should not be at all surprising that someone who says they're former CIA would end up in the upper rungs of Palantir as they move from the government to the private sector. And that's typically, it doesn't even matter what industry you look at. We see it in pharma. We see it in all other areas of the economy where it's a big merry-go-round. They get these government positions because they know that whenever their time is up, based on whether they're appointed or what have you, that there's going to be a cushy golden parachute waiting for them at the end in the private sector. And that's how that works. But they're never, ever really former anything because they still talk to all of their buddies back at the office.
That's why I said quote unquote.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's important to emphasize that just for everybody.
Yeah, just be aware. I agree with you.
With a lot of people. I think it's just best practice.
And real quick, I think this will add to the conversation. And I want to play that thing that Diligent's talking about. Let's all hear it together for I haven't heard it yet, but Diligent's played it. Let's see.
Again, I am not trying to be flashy when I say this. I would openly say that you have no intent or have never thought about killing yourself, and you do not and have not ever engaged.
I put a big old post up there.
Yeah, and
I'll repost it right now.
But the second part is even more important, Diligent, because this is something I know for a fact that is used to demonize people that are dancing too close to the sun. You need to state publicly you have not, never have, or have no interest in any type of questionable sexual material. You know where I'm going. So if you look this
I definitely
up, guys,
do not. I definitely do not.
I got you. So if you look this up, what you'll find is people that tend to get on the nerves of the U.S. intelligence community, magically one day they wake up and all of a sudden the FBI finds, gigabytes or terabytes of certain sexual material on their computer. And they're like, I have no idea how this got here. I'm telling you, like, there's a degree of pressure that can be applied to people that will not stand down that most people just don't understand.
Yep. Diligent, you gotta watch
And that's what I'm saying. Don't even put yourself in a position where someone can have that kind of conversation with you and twist it later on.
Y'all
Well,
different ways to come at it.
I'm gonna do my spaces the way I do my spaces. But thank you.
And you got to watch my stream later this week, Diligent. I'm going to be blackpilling Tupa on. You might want to look up this CIFA Counterintelligence Field Activity Office, which Lou Elizondo was a part of. It got shut down. They were basically gang stalking anti-war, anti-Iraq war protesters, like post what's the word? That one bill. Fuck, can't think of the name of the bill. Patriot Act. There we go. So yeah, I think a lot of the same shit, and they were contracted out too by Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Halliburton, which isn't Halliburton kind of like the grandpa of Palantir? I feel like. Yeah.
Can you play that clip now of Senator Shane telling his story? Can you find that? It's on my highlights.
Yeah, give me one
Scroll
moment.
down. Yeah. If I'm a co-host, can't go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, you got to be careful, mate, because what people don't realize is it's not just how many followers you have too, Diligent. It's your extended reach. If you've got an extended reach, if you've got 127,000 followers, you've got an extended reach into the millions, and that's why you get noticed because you're trying to be a man of good morals and you try to not let the subject or the names or political affiliations.
Is he rugging for anybody else? You're rugging.
Yeah,
Ken.
a little bit, Ken. Let's play this clip real quick, and then we'll let you try again. This I'll read the.
Is that better now?
No, it's not better. Nope.
So the
and let me just kind of
Yeah,
this is a co-host who has been covering Epstein with me, talking to her senator. She is a constituent. She's talking to her senator on the phone, and someone comes in and tells them they're being recorded in the middle of it as they're talking about Palantir and mass surveillance. I shit you not. Go ahead.
Earlier today talking. So yeah, we were on a conversation with Noxie earlier today talking about, interestingly enough, Palantir, counter surveillance measures, Faraday cages, what you can do to harden and protect yourself from illegal surveillance. And towards the end of the phone call, all of a sudden a male voice said, "Phone call is being recorded." And I was literally looking at my phone screen whenever it announced that, and I wasn't touching it. And there is a place where you can click on an iPhone, but and I tried it with my wife later. Mine is a female voice that says phone call is now being recorded, and she didn't touch it on her end, so it was just right in the middle of our phone call where we're talking about all this technology and counter surveillance measures and police state and Palantir. We had a third party announce that the phone call is being recorded.
Now, Shane, you are a GOP member of your state, and you are a state level senator, correct, of the Republican Party?
That's correct. So my background, I'm a state senator from Oklahoma, a former state representative, 11 years United States Navy intelligence, and 3.5 years served in the Treasury as a presidential appointee under Trump in his first administration. So that's my background.
Yeah, great job, Diligent. By the way, documenting all this stuff, you got to get the short soundbite. I see you dive right there. Don't let a bunch of people get in the way of that. That's how you got to do it. I'll repost all those. I'll probably send me your sexiest pic so that I could throw on all those.
Play the second clip real quick, just to finish. There's a reply
in the
to
comments.
That.
Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. I think this is it.
And it's like Reagan said, freedom isn't free. It's not passed back down in the bloodstream. Each successive generation has to fight for it.
I think we're witnessing the fight of our generation, Senator.
I agree. This is our generation's existential threat.
100%.
I don't doubt it. I reached out to a Navy intel buddy of mine who's also a U.S. Marshal and an investigator in an agency, and his recommendation was get you a new phone tomorrow. I have, as the state senator, I have resources I can reach out to, Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. So my thought was tomorrow I might reach out to them, see if we can reach out to AT&T and find out if they can see an anomaly from their end if there was a third party on that call.
Yeah, because there has to be a breach in some kind of law, right? Where if they are actively spying on a state level senator, that seems like it's a breach of the 10th Amendment if you're not doing anything illegal.
Agreed. And it is, Oklahoma is a one party state. So you can record a conversation that you're a party to, but you cannot record a conversation you're not a party to. So this was a third party, unannounced, not part of the call, wasn't a three-way call, that indicated it was recording. So one, it was listening, which would be an illegal wiretap, without the proper authorization from a court to say that they could listen in and wiretap our call. But secondly, they're recording the call, which is a violation of our state laws.
Let me ask you this real quick, Shane. Do you think that, well, what would be the intention of saying you're being recorded? You know what I mean? If it was a covert op, or if you're trying to, do you think that there's like a bypass of some potential lawsuit or something? Or like what, you know, I'm trying to like think of the logic there. It seems like you wouldn't want to tell people you're being recorded. So like,
So we were thinking of that, like, why would they disclose that? Either one, it was a glitch, they didn't mean to and it happened, or two, it was intended to intimidate.
So yeah. So the argument was, you know, when we were discussing this earlier, people were like, well, I think it was just a glitch, yada, yada, yada. Or I think you were just hitting the phone button, but if you weren't touching the phone, you know, in the face of all of these other things that are occurring, you know, you've been listening to me, so you know what I've been experiencing.
Right.
You know, it seems like intimidation to me is what it seems like. Just to let you know that they're like the nudge.
Yeah. Well, and if they're listening in now, I'll assure them that it only strengthened my resolve.
Oh,
Fucking love that guy.
100%.
And you're absolutely right. I agree with your assessment that it's to let you know. They do all these little weirdo things to let you know. Pretty soon, you're probably gonna have people start coming up to you in your life, telling you conversations that you've had, like in back channels, telling you.
I don't talk to anybody in real life. I don't talk to. There's no way.
I'm talking about random strangers at the store when you're getting groceries.
Yeah. I don't.
Just keep an eye out for it. Dude, but how many times has that happened in our community?
I want to add something real quick. Isn't he fucking based, dude? Like that.
Yeah, that was epic.
Forgot what I was gonna say now.
Shit, I'm sorry, bro. Fuck no. Back about that guy. He's super based. He's getting surveilled.
No, I don't know what it was. I completely lost it. It's fine.
We're all stoned.
You have to just assume that all
I'm
of
not
us
stoned,
are
bro. I
being
don't smoke weed.
surveilled at least
Well, I'm
by
stoned.
an AI. At the very least, there's programs. Go
I
ahead.
remember to what Chaotic was saying earlier. If I didn't have these conversations with these people in public, then it wouldn't be documented. All of this shit is documented for everybody to go back through. There is 2 months of this shit happening on the timeline and live in spaces that is irrefutable. That Brian guy who gave me the threat, he came into my space and argued or tried to give an excuse about it, right? That's all documented. So if it didn't happen in public like that, if I didn't have these conversations in spaces, well, then I wouldn't be able to prove any of this shit, right? But since it's all happening live and recorded, it's fucking there for everybody. So, you know, I would have to disagree. The fact that it's happening in spaces, particularly with me, makes it unique. Like, and it's like it's firsthand experience, or it's verifiable information that anybody can go back and study, and it's, you know, it's right there in locked into X. I guess the only way that it can get fucked up is if they go through. Oh, another weird thing that's been happening is my subspaces are getting surveilled. I'll do an after space with my subscriber space. It usually gets, you know, maybe 100 or 200 listeners. I have like 400 subscribers, and I'll sometimes I get 100 to 200 or so, or maybe 250 listeners after a big space. And they're usually anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour long, just wait for me to, like, you know, give my subscribers some value for their $5 a month. And they have been getting recording plays, like, or live listeners in the thousands sometimes. Like the last one I looked at, I did, or maybe a few days ago, it had like over 1,000 fucking replays, plus like 400. You know what I mean? Like for a subspace, people have whole spaces for hours and don't get 1,500 people in them. Fucking for a subscriber
So
space.
another data point that a bunch of eyes are on you in new ways that weren't before.
Let me just clarify really quickly. What I meant by that was when someone identifies themselves as a former acronym agency anything, and they start talking to you about CP, Like, that's a situation that could be easily avoided as soon as you learn that information. I'm saying you have to be careful not to put yourself in a situation where conversations like that can happen, even if they're being recorded. All of that's completely
Oh yeah, I
avoidable.
was seriously, I was seriously like, there is no clips of me doing or saying anything or letting anybody else do it. Like, you know how many enemies I made in speakers because I would shut people down because they would try to. They're like, dude, I guess that's another thing I forgot to say. The tactics of speakers, because I would bring randoms up, and people I even know. The tactics to try to get me to say things or to say things, in our conversations that can be pulled out of context was constant, and it was like evolving the entire time, where they were trying to do exactly what Chaotic was describing. They were trying to create a scenario on my stage that could be pulled out of context and weaponized or used to discredit me or somehow. And I was on top of that shit like a motherfucker. I would shut that shit down or call it out immediately.
Take note of the accounts doing it too, and if they're for us, right? A lot of the times that'll come from an account that was made in 2009, 2008, and was like inactive until like a few months ago. So just that's a data point to consider. So I would take note, screenshot. I'm sure you are screenshotting the fuck out of everything, all those little
Oh,
weirdo things.
Dude, I have a fucking whole fucking database of information. Like I'm sure I could take like the last, like all of these spaces and all of the posts and then all of the characters and like and if I like put it all together, it could probably be studied for like the tactics.
100%. We're all experiencing it in our own ways. You're definitely feeling it in just the new world, bro. Like I said, that one guy told us if you have a post blows up about China, a bunch of CCP motherfuckers are gonna be in here doing weirdo shit to you. You know what I mean? Epstein, and like I said, Epstein is the one where people get touched all the time, bro. Tracy Twyman, Isaac Cappy, like they're murdering people over that stuff. So be careful. I think even the hit that happened on Alex Jones's thing, that was like the day after Ian Carroll was on and deep diving all the Epstein stuff. I'm sure you
Be
know all
careful
that, but
talking about private equity. You'll get super violent bots. I have bots that show up under my comment section, like really in graphic detail describing how they want to murder me. It's not a singular problem in one particular community or the other. Like Tupa was saying earlier, it's copy pasted across multiple
exactly.
different topics. And I think that's something to pay attention to because in the beginning, when the communities don't really interact with each other like the way we are right now, to where we can come together and say, oh, wow, this is happening to all of us, regardless of, well, it's certain hot button issues and referencing certain things. And it's obvious that there's keyword targets here. So I think it's important that we're talking about it and recognizing that it's not just one singular community it's happening to. It's actually like platform wide.
Yeah, and Cheap, are you there? Is Super still here? Or Flack, or actually,
Yeah, I'm here,
Kent. Actually, Kent's been around. How much of what Diligent's saying sounds very similar, right? And even what Chaotic was saying about the fintech to what we've been discovering over here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. And this is a personal opinion, but you need to be a little bit careful because one of the realize is not.
Oh, poor Kent
You're
is
rugging
still
again, brother.
roboting.
We're gonna cycle you.
You're kidding me.
I wish they don't want Kent speaking. And also, Diligent, remember this kind of happened, I feel like, to Maze and a lot of the people who were doing spaces daily about Hamas, Israel, Palestine. They were getting fucked with. So a bunch of different people are doing this kind of behavior.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole drive. This isn't the first time I've been attacked. They've tried to cancel me. Let's see, they tried to cancel me for Kumar. They tried to cancel me for Maze because I would stick up for these people because I believe in free speech, man. That's a core value of mine. Even though, right? Well, let me just say this. I don't think people should be ostracized because you don't agree with their views. Like they shouldn't drag. When I talk about censorship, Spaces is different, right? You're a host, you get to run your space how you fucking want. But when you are trying to cancel people altogether so that people won't listen to them at all, and it's an organized, dog pile type situation, I would stick my neck out. Kumar, I've done it for Kumar. I did it for Maze. There's someone else too. I've done it a few times, and I would take that heat.
Even Tupa, I'd say you could count that on your belt, bro. Be nice to me and Tupa amidst all our bullshit.
Yeah, I guess, but it wasn't. So yeah, I have taken heat before on behalf of people, but it wasn't like directly at me like this. And even Maze, it wasn't. I don't think it was anything to this degree. The Milli Vanilli saga was pretty hot for her, though. I mean, that was probably comparable, but I don't think there was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it was government actors or not. There is something to that, there was a lot of pro-Israel accounts that were coming at me for my Epstein coverage, even though I was very careful to not like ostracize, Israel or Jews in a way that was like, because there is a trope there, right? Like just even with the coverage with the guy leaving, getting to leave Vegas, right? Well, there's people coming up on my stage and they're like, Israel has the most pedophiles out of any country, which on the face of it, it sounded like bullshit. And I was like, that sounds like bullshit. And she's like, we just asked Grok. And I was like, sure, but it's okay. So I let him ask. And it sounds like bullshit. Well, then they'll come up again, in 5 or 10 minutes and want to keep talking about it. I'm like, listen, I was nice enough to indulge you, right? But now you have an agenda. You're showing that you have an agenda. But I just want to say, I feel like I'm very objective. I'm probably the most objective Spaces host on that particular subject out of anybody that I've seen, right? Because either you're usually on one side of that issue or you're on the other. And I really do not care. Like I, in my core soul, do not care about anything going on over there. So, but what I noticed during the Epstein coverage is that these accounts that were, when I was like in the middle of the attack, there was a lot of pro-Israel accounts that were also attacking me. And I'm like, I'm not saying anything about Israel, like, if Mossad came up as a topic as it relates to Ghislaine Maxwell or her dad, I would entertain a little bit, but I wouldn't dwell on it, even much to the dismay of some people. But if evidence leads me anywhere, I will go there. But if you try to lead me there without evidence, it's not going to happen. And that's what was occurring. I'm like, I'm not one of those people. I can't. That's why, even conspiracy theories or UFO or whatever, you have to get me there with evidence. Otherwise, I won't go. And it doesn't matter what it is.
Hey, Diligent, how are you, buddy? No, just to echo what you said, you haven't been one of those people who kind of did that, but I'm always a big believer in look for the obvious explanation. Look for the obvious explanation for something. That's why I'm not a big quote unquote conspiracy theorist, even though there are lots of real conspiracies. There's even, criminal charges called a conspiracy to do A, B, or C, whatever. But I mean the popular ones, the contrails, the fake moon landing, 9/11 inside job. I don't believe any of that shit. But so the reason I bring that up is to say that there's a simple explanation for why, even though you correctly said you did not engage in that, anti-Semitism or whatever, why that occurred, which is that a huge percentage of especially the Twitter commentary, since the renewed interest in the Epstein story has consisted of that. Not you, definitely not you, legit. And so you don't deserve the heat for that behavior. But I mean, listen, you see the same discourse that I do, right? So it is what it is. Whereas previously, when last time Epstein was the Epstein story was big in the news, was everyone was blaming it on the Clintons, right? It was like, oh, the Clintons did it, right? The Clintons did it. The Clintons did it. This time, kind of crossing over with the post October 7th environment. A lot of it, not you again, just to make it clear. So I'm not casting aspersions at all. But a lot of it overwhelmingly was in those fever swamps, what I consider to be those fever swamps. So therefore, people are fucking touchy about it. They come up and they're like, "What the fuck, man? Even though you don't deserve it, people catch strays. You caught strays, and they're like, "What the fuck? You're yet another person who's kind of speaking of dogpiling on the Jews or the Zionists or the Israelis or whatever the fuck it is." So that's kind of, I think, the simple explanation for why you caught strays. They were strays, not deserved, on that story.
Yeah, and that's fine, and I realize that, and that's why I didn't get, I don't hold grudges really ever anymore. So that's nice. So that's why I wasn't like, I didn't take any anger out on anybody. I just call it out. You know what I mean? Like there is no reason for the. I'll just call out the logical fallacy, and then just you can either take what I'm saying or not. I don't fucking care. But I know for a fact, at least I can say this much, which is, I don't. Yeah, I wasn't. My aim is not to try to discredit any people. I think it's more government, if anything, right? And I know that's even a trope because I've seen people be like, "Oh, well, they say it's only the government they don't like, but really they mean everything else." And I'm like, no, that's not always the case. Uh, there's something going on there, but I feel I don't know. I can be objective about it. But yeah, I did take strays. Some of it wasn't just strays. I feel like maybe there's just like such an organized effort to combat that online, that machine, whatever that is, and it may not even be one that's intentionally built. It might just be something that occurs over time
organically, yeah, certain people react
that's I'm giving some grace there. So it might just be a machine that organically comes up to combat information online, right? And and that if it's perceived as an attack, then that machine is going to defend itself, and that's fine. And that's why I just blocked a couple of the key actors and fucking moved on with my day. But yeah, I think that's what that is.
Ocean, real quick, are you there?
I am.
I was going to ask Kent this, but I wanted someone who's been around, safe, like been around for a minute. Doesn't Diligent, a lot of what he's saying kind of sound very similar too, right?
Yeah, there's definitely common tactics when it comes to like discrediting or repressing people's voices, right? Like making every single accusation known to man, right? Like you're the worst person on earth, you're this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, this comment section now is full of just, I feel like KMF level pictures of like penises and Diligence this, Diligence that.
There's making memes. There's even as far as like I would say I've seen my friends be set up where like they're sent information which then they make public and then they're accused of doxing people.
Or they
Like,
literally
that's
have
wild.
honeypots. It's crazy. People think it's just fucking one thing. They have honeypots up in this
I
bitch.
promise you, there are no nudes. There are no. I just want to. There's no nudes of me anywhere. So if they're posting nudes, they're definitely not mine.
I'm just saying you should never have your fucking family's addresses posted online and like your family pictures brought online, all that shit. I don't know if you see that shit, but that's happened here for sure.
Oh yeah, I've seen that shit happen to a few different people.
The other thing I wanted to, if I can, quickly address a different subject. The reason I requested in the first place, when you were, when I first started listening, you were talking about the immigration issue and the ICE and stuff like that. That's again, like I think we need to like revert to the simple explanation. Yeah, Biden, whatever. But the reporting is the reporting. Like the Trump administration's sloppy. They haven't hired nearly as many people as they should have. In fact, they've been firing people with Doge, whatever, and they did what they did. But in terms of the core issue of staffing up and massively increasing the workforce at ICE, this is something that they campaigned on, not only openly and didn't hide it. It was like literally one of their core promises to do the largest mass deportation in the history of the United States. And literally while they were selling the so-called big beautiful bill, right, they said one of their core benefits to it, as far as they were concerned, and I agree on that, on this particular aspect, was that we're going to staff up, we're going to hire, I think they said tens of thousands, definitely thousands of additional agents and do all these things. So I think sometimes a rose is just a fucking rose. And the reason that they're expanding ICE is because they're doing these, they're trying to massively increase their capacity to process and deport as many unauthorized illegal immigrants as humanly possible. And you don't have to take my word for it. Every fucking Democrat in every blue city in America is complaining about the presence of ICE agents, even as it is today in their city, because it's massively increased. So sometimes things are exactly, in fact, a lot of times, things are exactly as they appear to be. And I think that is one of these cases. I think maybe this is just me speculating that your cynicism about the Epstein issue, for your own reasons, different than the crazy stuff we discussed earlier, I think it's kind of, in the short term at least, kind of poisoned your view of everything coming out of them. But that was a core promise from the Trump administration. So they're literally doing exactly what they promised. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's all right, Charlie. Well, it's good that we're having this back and forth, Red. Trust me. I'll be short though.
Drop whoever you want, because sometimes I'm not saying Charlie's doing this, but they'll send people in to just ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble, and it sounds.
No,
sorry
you're
about that,
good.
guys.
No, you're good. Charlie's long-winded, but he's good. Charlie, it hasn't poisoned my view. What it does is it has replaced my confirmation bias. Right now, I'm looking with a healthy skepticism, whereas before I was extremely biased. Right, the Epstein coverage or the Epstein thing has removed my total bias and has allowed me to look at things objectively. Okay, you are making a leap of logic to say, oh, well, the reason why is because they're understaffed. Well, if that was the truth, why wouldn't they say that? Like, hey, we haven't, because we're cutting out the bad people. They could give this explanation and it would be totally accepted, even by me. They could say the reason why we're underreporting is because we're understaffed, because we had to fire all of these bad agents, right? These corrupt agents. That would be something that made sense. That would probably placate a lot of the people, but they're not doing that. What they're doing is they are not reporting official data and obscuring evidence. And it's far enough along now, 8 months, where you can't really say, Derps, mute your mic, bro. Mute your mic. I'm gonna help you. All right, so you can't really say, you're actually making, that's not Occam's razor. Occam's razor is the simplest explanation, is the most likely. Okay, the most likely explanation here is that they are not reporting because they don't want people to be able to add the information up. You're actually making a few degrees of logic away from that to be able to draw the hypothesis that you're giving. So I would argue that that's not the simplest explanation.
Granted, I did make a leap of logic in terms of the reporting part of it, for sure. That's me speculating, but I'm precisely using Occam's razor, and you're making the leap of logic when it comes to why the hell are they staffing up ICE so much? It's not as if it was like a major. I'm saying sarcastically,
because they're correlated, right? If the math, if there's only 108,000, because this is also logic. If we're 8 months in, there's 180,000 people there, right? So let's say that I'm being gracious. Let's just say, for the sake of this discussion, that instead of the mathematics of 180,000 people in 8 months, let's say that they get rid of 300,000, like they're saying that they are, even though the evidence doesn't support it. Let's go with their optimistic. Yeah. Anyways, I'm getting tired. Let's go with the optimistic projection, right? Let's say it's 300,000 in 8 months. Well, then that would only be, maybe 100. Okay, 100. There's 112, 1 million to 1,200,000 in a year. 4 million in 4 years. There's 15 million illegals here. The infrastructure that they're building up for, right? The capacity that they're building the police force for, and the fact that they're including, criminal policing in their mandate at the same time doesn't add up. It actually, right, I would argue, based on the numbers and the actions where they are deputizing agents and ICE agents to patrol a municipality right now in DC, where you can say, well, that's limited to DC, that's different because of the Home Act. Well, that's true. But they're, at the same time, Trump is telling you, and the DOJ is telling you, that they're getting ready, that's the model that they're getting ready to incorporate nationwide. Well, then it's not a leap of logic.
All right. I dropped it. I'm having Tupa's Discord flashbacks. I don't want to debate ICE. I want to talk about what's happening to Diligent, the narrative control systems going on here.
Okay.
Yeah. You see how he got us in the loop there? Real quick, this is from Burleson Space. I just thought it was kind of interesting. You see, no diss to you, Diligent, but that guy was getting us. We're going to be talking about ICE.
Bro, I'm tired.
Yeah, and you're tired too. That's why I was like, this
situation in the China situation in relation to all this in terms of like their reverse engineering. Obviously AI, kind of plays into all this stuff too. Is that kind of affecting our timelines of things? What are you thinking about China?
I would say China is the level of espionage that China is doing and has been doing on the United States is shocking. And it's something that for me, until I was elected to Congress, I you kind of think that they might be doing it, but they're so blatant about it.
So yeah, just point being, China's doing it. A bunch of people are doing it in our community. We documented people paying like homeless crackheads on the run to help push narratives, do weirdo shit, go in spaces, disrupt. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's try and keep it a little focused. Diligent's probably going to go to bed soon. Get your sleep, bro. I'm going to repost all that shit. Aladdin, what do you got?
Yeah,
Yes.
So when I was in the intelligence community, we did wargaming. I don't want to get into the details of that, but in 2029, allegedly, the hypothetical wargaming thing, 2029, we would be in Connecticut.
Wait, also everyone
warfare.
retweet the space. Retweet the space. Sorry, continue. And keep it on. Keep it moving. Diligent's got to go to bed and keep it on. Hopefully, it's all leading to the same place. If I feel like anyone's just like Tupa's discording us, I'm gonna drop them.
Yeah, 2029 wargaming happening, and we lose multiple carriers and all of that. And based on the wargaming they were doing, and we prevail against China, but that's hypothetical. Obviously, wargaming, you do wargaming on whatever information that you have at the time, and you never.
All right, so let's move this into the narrative control online. That's the focus of this discussion.
Well, we're in an information war, right? Like, it's no longer like boots on the ground. That's not going to be a thing. We use drones now. We're in like an information and narrative control war, where if you control the narrative, you prevent the war from happening, right? Or you steer the war where you want it to be so you can make the most profit off of
It's an
it.
info
or
war. Alex
whatever.
Jones was right. Absolutely. Chaotic good, go for it. I just dropped that guy. I feel like I've explained myself a lot, and if I'm just feeling very dictatory right now with it.
Fifth generation warfare is all digital.
Absolutely. There's weirdo
The
like
fucking the mind control, man, is the narrative, like the grip the propaganda machine has on people is fucking insane to watch. I watch it though. I try, man. I try to wake people up. So I'm going to bed. Thank you. Hey, Panda.
Good
this
night,
has been
bro.
a great
Hey,
day, man.
come talk to us, bro. Because it's sometimes it's like, how do you tell your normie friends about this shit? You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, oh, okay. Like,
No, I do actually have a couple of people who I've confided in that are kind of like observing it from the outside, and so it's not like I'm completely alone. I just don't spend time with people to put myself in a compromising situation right now, and I'm just going to. And what I mean by that is, like, I don't want to be out hanging out with people I don't trust. There was people trying to get me to go fucking travel the country with them during this shit, like out
hell
of
no.
nowhere. Fuck no, bro. I'm not going to meet anybody I don't know. I might never do it again.
Yeah, honestly,
Hey,
after the
go to
last
bed.
time, huh? All right, good night, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
Exactly.
night.
Thank you.
Everyone
Thank
pray
you
for
having me.
Diligent. Love you, bro. Keep doing the Lord's work. Stay safe, stay strapped. We'll just move back into more of a discussion now. We'll bring up the people who are requesting. Sorry if you guys, I don't know. Was I being an asshole, or were those people Tupa's discording the conversation into random bullshit that had nothing to do with what we were talking
No,
about?
I
The shit
mean,
we
it's
see
your
lately.
space.
Wait, Flack, what did you say?
The shit we see lately, I don't think it's a problem to be diligent, diligent,
Yeah, like I made it really clear what I want to talk about. And people are like, let's have a 30-hour debate about ICE. Okay, that's not really what we're talking about here.
It's really sad. We try to bring information into diligent space, but he doesn't let us talk. He censors us. We tried to bring anti-Trump information in and the connections to Chabad Lubavitch into his space, and he doesn't let us speak as Americans. And it's very, very infuriating because our people are dying, not only being poisoned and injected, but sent to artificial wars. And it's amazing that you just let him go, or he just skirts away as someone comes in here with some valid information to call his ass out.
Yell more, brother. Yell harder. Yes, I live for it. Yell harder.
Are you open to conversation, or are you just
have the conversation?
Because listen to yourself. You already sound like a fucking schizo retard. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I know you're real glad because we're all being censored. We don't have the information. None of
You're
us
up here
do.
right now and you're crying like a dumb bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Calmly say your piece, brother. You can do it. I believe in you. Calm. Let's breathe together, brother. Yes. Okay. 99.c9 random ass
Yeah,
fucking
think about
name.
your
What do you got?
babies that are buried under the rubble while you breathe. Have a good night, guys.
This is another thing too. Free me. Your ad is free me 67668253. Just random number chain. Yeah, great. Send better ones next time, guys. Okay. Tiffany, how are you? Tiffany, you there? All right, no, Tiffany. We're gonna bring up some of these other people. Let's see how many of
Ken's got
them.
his hand up. I don't
Oh,
know if
Kent,
Kent
go
wants
for
to
it, brother.
chime in.
So, can you finally hear me, or am I still rugging?
Now,
sound good.
magically, that
Hey.
Dill's gone. We could hear you perfectly. Well, funny how that works, huh?
I don't think they wanted me talking to Diligent, but all I was going to say to him was, even if he's only got 120, not only, but even if he's got 127,000 followers, his extended second tier reach is in the millions. It's the same with you, and it's the same with Tupa. I mean, even me, just one of my followers has 2 million followers. So if you've got an extended reach in the
Yeah,
millions,
but
they're
why
going to
have to?
notice you when
Why
you're
do
talking
people have to
about.
pick somebody apart? Like it makes them
They're going
better
to
than
notice
somebody
when
else.
Hold
you're
up, man.
talking about
Molly,
stuff they don't like
let's
talking
let
about.
Kent. We're gonna let everyone finish. If you cut off like a fucking paid agent, we're gonna drop you down. I'm having too much Tupa Discord flashbacks right now. Kent, continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say, your second tier reach is one of the things they worry about, because if you're talking about subjects that they don't want you to discuss, you're reaching potentially millions of people, and we're getting noticed. You can tell since you've hit 50,000 followers, Red, how much has your traffic changed? You get noticed by people. You've had a
We're
congressman in
low-key
the
setting
space
the
with you and
fucking
Tupa.
Rogan's talking points, dude.
Yeah, I mean, mate, that's the thing, they're scared of that. They're scared of the ordinary, everyday man having a voice in the community. They're scared of that shit. Believe me.
Hell yeah. All right, Molly, did you have something you wanted to say? Sorry, like I said, and if something comes off, give us a little grace. We've been getting psyoped up in this bitch for a minute. We've literally documented paid accounts coming in to derail shit and act like other people, act like they're friends, do all this crazy shit. So I'm sorry, but Molly, what's up?
No, I apologize. I was just wondering why that person that you must have just taken out had to personally sabotage somebody else to feel better at the end of the day. Obviously, he's not happy. Maybe, we all have different opinions, but personal sabotage like that is it's not making anybody else feel better except himself.
Hurt people, yo.
He just wanted to rage and try and make Diligent look bad, and yeah, that was my
but it's not attractive.
Yeah, that's the funny part, right? Like the shit they do is just like a lot of the time people are already starting to rise up to it. A lot of people still need a reality check of like how advanced some of the online bullshit that these companies and governments and cults and all these different people do. But people are rising up to it. It's fucking, yeah. I mean, does anyone really fuck with cancel culture anymore? Like, not really, right?
People are waking up so fast, though. They're gonna push faster for the reset. And I don't know if anybody else knows what that means, but they don't want people to be smart,
100%.
The other guy that was just talking, are you Irish or Scottish?
Australian young lady, born in Scotland but raised in Australia.
Very nice.
All right, man. Well, we do have some other people up here requesting. Is there anything else you want to say before we move on to the next person?
No, that's fine.
All right. God bless you. Pray for Jill. Pray for all of our communities. Thank you. Who would you bring up? Philosophy Decide. How are you doing? What are your thoughts on all this? If not, Taylor, you had your hand up earlier and you didn't say anything. How are you? Well, we're going to try the last two speakers, and if not, I might just close it out. Maybe we'll get Logan to do after space. Tiffany, we brought you up again, and then Charlie Crown. Tiffany, go for it. All right.
I think someone's screwing with your space, Red. I think someone's screwing with your space, mate.
I can give you an update if you want.
Hello?
My wine is empty. What up? How's
What
it
up,
going?
Tiffany? What are your thoughts on the matter at hand? The subject being
Okay, I was
diligence
thinking.
experiences since covering Epstein in depth, covering the online kind of weirdo shit he's been experiencing. What are your thoughts on this topic at hand?
I've seen. I don't know because I don't know what they did over there. I just think that they were doing stuff. I don't know.
Hey, man, well, thank you. Have a great night. Charlie Crown, what are your thoughts on the topic at hand, sir?
Hey man, thanks for bringing me back up. Sorry, I promise you I wasn't trying to derail before. The only reason I addressed what I addressed, which I won't address now, was because when I first tuned in, those were the subjects that Diligent himself was talking about. But vis-a-vis the subject of the space, I've sort of witnessed a little bit of it. I've been in a few of his spaces since he started covering this stuff. We have different points of view on it, but he's always been very respectful about it. And like you said, tried to be open-minded.
Okay, what are your thoughts as somebody who's been an audience member of him from the outside? Have you seen, can you sense this coordination going on in relation to the Epstein stuff? What's your perspective like as a member turned a panelist, talk to him, different views? What's your thoughts on that? What have you seen?
Well, for sure. I mean, from the little bit that I've seen from the outs in terms of the reaction, right? I've definitely been on his panels, for sure. I have no doubt that. Listen, I actually not even no doubt. I know for a fact that a lot of psyops on, especially on this app, compared to other social media apps, because I suspect because this is the app for news and kind of social and political debate. So I have no doubt that people that are unhappy with what he's saying or how he's saying it are fucking with him. I have zero doubt about that. I know from the spaces I've been hosting or co-hosting since I've been doing a lot of geopol spaces in the last couple of years since October 7th. And from my perspective, we've received just a fuck ton of that stuff. So I have no doubt that it's coming in a lot of directions, including to him. Like I literally had my host that I was co-hosting with, Stealth, who you might be familiar with, Stealth Medical. Literally, no exaggeration, had an Irish mercenary. I won't name the person here. A literal Irish mercenary tried to kind of blackmail her, even though she's American, into getting him citizenship of another country in exchange for continuing to participate in our spaces. Like up, and I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't heard the recording. It wasn't done. The blackmailing wasn't done on a space, but in a private call afterwards. And so, like, I have no doubt, like, this is the place for foreign psyops, domestic psyops, corporate psyops. Just
Like I
motivated
said,
groups.
the Arab Spring happened in 2011, all via Twitter.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what 5-6
100%.
nations over, basically cooed via this app.
Yeah, 100%. And then remember the in different
15 years ago.
Right. Remember the bring back our girls thing, which I'm not saying is
Coney
bad,
2012.
Yeah, Coney 2012, all that stuff, right? And just Twitter seems to be, and I have to say on this particular aspect of it, some things have gotten better in terms of being able to express varying opinions since Elon took over. The aspect of the kind of bots and like literal bots and kind of metaphor and bot farms and all that kind of stuff has gotten way worse since he took over. It's not the same. It's not as bad. It's worse significantly. And you could just see it. So I think there would be some maybe useful things to
I feel like we need a whole new government department on this or some shit, because it's happening in so many different realms of society, and all of society is basically online now, right? And people, like I said, like it's 2004, 1998 online at times. It's like, nah, dude, there's so many different forces, so many different, like I said, cults, countries, special interest groups, defense contractors, all doing weirdo shit to real people.
For sure.
Right?
I think it would be very useful if they could add, if Twitter would add, at the very least, I don't want to censor people literally, but I would like to see in terms of foreign psyops. I hate that I'm a nationalist, sort of a patriot, whatever you want to call it. I don't like, it's one thing for us or people in a country to have politically toxic debates. I want to minimize, especially in the information age where, this 5G warfare that you guys are talking about, minimize the amount to the extent possible without compromising our own rights. Foreign fingers putting their thumb, the proverbial thumb on the scale. So I think something that would be useful would be if they instituted at least a label, right? So that you would know if you're dealing with a foreign account. Okay, that's fine. You can do it. You don't have to algorithmically restrict them. Whatever, say what you want to say, even if it's fucking crazy, right? As long as it's not breaking the law in that country. But like at least label, like I want to know that I'm talking to a Pakistani bot. There's a lot of them. I want to know, or a Pakistani account that's not a bot. I want to know. I want to know that I'm talking to a Canadian
Label
account.
your
Fine.
sources. We were talking about this in an earlier conversation. I got in trouble for not labeling my sources. And you're saying that labeling sources is important, knowing where the
I'm saying
information comes
account.
from.
Yeah,
We
I'm
love you,
saying
Extra.
that like there's a ton. There was an account called Red Pill Media that ended up being a Pakistani person who was portraying himself as a red-blooded American, right? And there's fuck tons of examples.
You remember
like
Ian
that.
Miles Chong? That's like a real mainstream version of that.
Right, Ian Miles Chong, a bunch of them, right? And again, it's fine if you want to say it's going to be a platform for more or less unrestricted free speech. Fair enough, but I think it's important because people do care about, many people, me included, care about the sovereignty of the nation state. I think it's important to know. Okay, all right, you're Al Jazeera. At least we know that Al Jazeera is Qatari, or you're whatever. You're CBC. You're Canadian state-funded broadcaster. You are Ian Miles Chong. You're living in Indonesia. Right, you're Red Pill Media. You're pretending to be a red-blooded American, but you're literally in like Bangalore or whatever, or not in Bangalore, but Karachi. I think that's useful. That's transparency for the reader, so they're not getting mind fucked.
All right, sweet man. Let's go over to Ken, and then we had Noxie come up. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I just wonder how much of this is automated. I wonder how much of it is whatever subject is against the political norm, or whatever subject you're covering that they don't want covered, that these things automatically get routed to the group that takes care of it. It seems to be so, like, one of the things that really concerned me when I was listening to Diligent talking about his experience was it's the same sort of thing that's happened to me. And directly about it, Red. You were actually holding a space where a guy, the night after my house had some type of a device go off outside our bedroom, 50 meters from our bedroom, a guy came into one of your spaces and was threatening me. And he had 15,000 followers and lived in the same country as me. So this stuff is going on, and what concerns me, especially with what Diligence said, was how well they can target people, and how quickly they can target people and find people. That to me is a level of organization that goes beyond any sort of bunch of grubby guys sitting around in their underwear in mum's basement. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. It's very organized, and yeah, can I remember that fully? It was a Thai Zionist, which you never heard from. Randomly comes into space, King Cloud space. I got it all recorded, threatening you.
Diligent and I sort of met through Maze, if I remember correctly, and it was when I was doing spaces with Maze on all.
Were you doing karaoke?
Well, we weren't. Look, Maze is a really nice lady. I like Maze.
No, she's a sweetheart.
Too soon.
Yeah, she's made mistakes, but she was really doing her best to do balanced reporting and balanced spaces about all the shit that was going on. And a guy literally came into one of the spaces and said, "You're all on a list, and we're going to get you." And that was on a space, mate. So
Do you remember
this
which?
is real stuff.
If you could help me find that space, I want to document that somewhere.
You better run.
You better run. All right, let's go to Ken. Anything else you want to say there before we go to Noxie? Maybe we'll hear from Introspect, and then I'll probably close it out here soon.
No, but I'm glad you're doing well, Red. Good to see you doing well, mate.
Oh, we're winning on our front, bro. Fucking Lou is fucking in a full-on route right now, dude. Although he's still kicking up his little thing, so good for him. But I'm telling you, y'all got to check out the stream I got cooking, looking into the CIFA shit. They were gang stalking people in the anti-Iraq war movement, Quakers. They were hiring hookers for politicians. The biggest bribery scandal any politician was related to this whole thing. The organizations are not anymore, and that's literally what Lou Elizondo was doing right before he came to UFO land. They, by the way, were contracted with Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Halliburton, right? So it all fits for us, at least. Luckily, we're able to illuminate it this well. I feel for other people who are in different spheres, it's like not as easy to illuminate.
Just quickly too, Red, something to keep an eye on in the near future, in the next quarterly report, Lockheed Martin's annual next report, because they lost 1.6 billion in their last announcement. If they're still losing money, that could be something that could get things moving, eh?
Yeah, they lost a bunch of money a few weeks ago. Noxie.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm to your spaces. I haven't met you before. I actually co-host with Diligent.
Yeah, I saw
And
from the clips. That's why I recognized your
yeah, so
profile.
it's nice to meet you, and I appreciate you allowing the stage, and I appreciate you bringing up this subject. It has been pretty bad from my perspective.
Yeah, please go into as much detail as you can.
Well, I mean, whenever it seems like it kind of like goes and like flows. And so we've been on Epstein for a while, everybody knows. But whenever we go into like more of like the in Palantir depth, or the other night whenever we went in on the Tom Alexandrovich being released out of Las Vegas, it's like I can personally see it like heighten with my DMs, things that have happened with me in my life. He actually has pinned on his profile, it was pinned, was me talking to my senator and our call being recorded, which was like really weird. And we couldn't find like the way of how
Oh,
the
that
phones
was
are
you.
supposed to
Okay,
do it.
yeah, we heard that
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, and so my senator and I were talking, and it was just really weird. We couldn't get our phones to mimic it because both of our phones, whenever we pushed the button, it was a female voice like Siri. And whenever we were talking to each other, though, it was a male voice, and we couldn't get it to replicate that. And I couldn't find any setting to even change that voice.
Real quick for
But
the room, because it's been a minute since I played that. Do you mind if I just play that again? I think I got the right clip. This one, right?
And it's like Reagan said, freedom isn't free. It's not
This one,
passed
right?
down in the bloodstream. Each successive
Yes.
generation has to fight for it.
I think we're witnessing the fight of our generation, Senator.
I agree. This is our generation's existential threat.
Oh shit, hold on. That's the one right below it. Let's do this one right above it. And this is your local state senator, right, Noxie? Yes.
So yeah, we were on a conversation with Noxie earlier today talking about, interestingly enough, Palantir, counter surveillance measures, Faraday cages, what you can do to harden and protect yourself from illegal surveillance. And towards the end of the phone call, all of a sudden a male voice said, "Phone call is being recorded." And I was literally looking at my phone screen whenever it announced that, and I wasn't touching it. And there is a place where you can click on an iPhone, but and I tried it with my wife later. Mine is a female voice that says phone call is now being recorded, and she didn't touch it on her end, so it was just right in the middle of our phone call where we're talking about all this technology and counter surveillance measures and police state and Palantir. We had a third party announce that the phone call is being recorded.
Now, Shane, you are a GOP member of your state, and you are a state level senator, correct, of the Republican Party?
That's correct. So my background, I'm a state senator from Oklahoma, a former state representative, 11 years United States Navy intelligence, and 3.5 years served in the Treasury as a presidential appointee under Trump in his first administration. So that's my background.
All right, there you go. You're gonna pick up from there, Noxie.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I picked him to talk about everything with was because I knew that he had 11 years of Navy intelligence. And
Very
he's
smart.
one that I actually trust. And so it was actually really funny, and I explained it on that particular space, was because whenever I originally called him, he was acting like a robotic voice, kind of like an answering service. And of course, I was just laughing because I thought, like, of course, I'm not going to be able to reach my senator. Like, who can reach their senator? But I have his cell phone number. So I was like, that's weird. And I went to like hang up on him, and he started laughing. He's like, I'm just kidding. And so whenever we heard that voice, we both started laughing because I was like, you're messing with me. Like, you did that. Like, you're just trying to fool me again. And he was like, no, I promise you this time, like, I did not do it. And I was like, well, I didn't do it. And so what the heck was that? And it was also at the time we had been talking too about like warning shots. And so I was like, that feels like they intentionally kind of threw like a warning shot out there. And I've never had anything like that before happen. And so it was just a little weird to me. But I've seen it with Diligent, even the amount of doxing and people just going after him for like no reason whatsoever. besides the fact that he's bringing up the CIA, or he's bringing up Palantir, or he's bringing up, these things that are not popular, I guess, from the government's perspective of wanting people to discuss. And it was just, it like my senator said, like, if you were hoping that it was going to, shut me up, you're wrong. It's only like strengthened my resolve. And so I immediately after that phone call happened, I called Dilly. I don't have his phone number, but I called him on X and through the messages. And I was like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And he had just woken up. He's like, I haven't even had my coffee yet. And I'm like, I know, I get it. But it was very, very eye-opening to me for something like like my background. I'm nobody. I have a very small account. I am a stay-at-home mom. I'm very involved in my local politics and paying attention to what's going on in my state and my backyard. And so I never thought that anybody would care about me. I thought I was off that radar after January 6th. I thought I was like, it's calmed down. But seeing how they have attacked him makes me very sad for the country, that true journalism or somebody trying to just look for the truth in our government is being attacked and trying to be silenced, because a lot of people that would silence them. The one account that just keeps posting pictures of him and going through his Vimeo and his Facebook and any other X account that he's ever had, like just doing the deep dive on him. Like that would, me personally, like that would bother me. Like I have children and I don't know who these people are. And there's too many weirdos out there to be exposing my children to. And so I don't mean to ramble, but it is something.
No, I want you to have all the room, because you can't have this conversation everywhere either, right? And it's totally real. I don't know if you've heard, but we're from the UFO community, and a lot of the similar kind of weirdo tactics, I think directly connected to defense contractors and stuff, has been happening. It fucks with people's heads. They want you to feel isolated, and you can't talk about it. You're crazy. So by all means, let it all out. Get it documented. Dill's been doing a great job documenting it. But yeah, a lot of people aren't prepared for it. People don't, like I said, people think it's like 2004 internet time. I'm just going to get online and talk. It's like, no, dude, like Mossad's everywhere. China's everywhere. Scientologists are everywhere. All these different groups and interests have got thousands, if not millions of dollars, like to just do this kind of shit. Have people like that weird account that's in these comments just posting dick pics and pics of Dill and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And yeah, it gets really gnarly. It gets really gnarly. And I was telling,
and I just find it unnecessary, not to cut you off,
No, you're all
but I
good.
just find it unnecessary. And, like, what happened to kindness? What happened to, if you don't care, if you don't want to hear what somebody is talking about in that space because it doesn't interest you, then just keep going. Why do you, what triggers somebody in your head that you think that you need to go and dig everything up about their life and dox them and expose them and possibly put them in danger, or their family in danger, or their children in danger? Like
well, these aren't just people though, Noxie. These are operations. These are people paid to conduct operations to intimidate and harass and get people to just go away, because a lot of people do go away.
And or they're mentally unwell.
Or it's
Tell her what Darren has been doing.
Well, and I think that that's partially true, but there are some people that just jump on the bandwagon just because, oh, this is cool, And I think that we should be better as humans to be like calling that out and saying, okay, this is not right. This is wrong. We don't need, like, just because somebody has an opinion that may not agree with yours doesn't mean we need to destroy their lives. And we should have that freedom of speech. And whenever you are sharing that stuff or you are instigating it, like, you are doing your part to shut down somebody else's First Amendment right, because you are censoring them by fear. And that should not be happening in America today.
100%
Listen,
agree.
There's lots of studies, right, on the fact that people lose their critical faculties when they're part of a large group, right? Which is why I hate, literal mobs, and I hate large protests in general, right? I've been to a couple, but more to, like, document or look at or people watch, because it absolutely does happen, and you have to, not you, but one has to fight against it, right? And reason why that's the reason why one of my favorite, I guess, memes online is the one where you see like a drawing of a massive crowd, seated in the audience. Oh, sorry, standing up in the audience, maybe clapping for the leader or whoever it is, right? It's unclear. and then one person's sitting and there's like a thought bubble that says be this guy, right? It doesn't mean you have to be contrarian just for the sake of being contrarian. If you agree with the crowd, then fine, but like don't, like try your best not to be the person who's just, has that mob mentality and loses all individual thinking. It's very hard to avoid, especially if you put yourself in certain situations, but it's, that's the thing. That's the way we maintain civilized behavior.
Yeah. Heather, did you have anything you wanted to say? I don't know if you got a chance to hear Diligent earlier. And Noxie too. I've actually,
I was just
yeah.
popping up to mess with you as usual because I've been busy all day and I haven't got to hang out. But you're having a serious talk, so
We're gonna have an after space in Logan's probably shortly. Nox, anything else that's been happening that you want to talk about publicly, or like I said, check out my stream I got coming up. A lot of the stuff I think is it overlaps the tactics, and if you're gonna keep talking about it, like I told Diligent, this is one where they do get in people's faces a lot. In my opinion, is the Epstein stuff. That's what I've seen over my years monitoring the internet.
Yeah, they definitely aren't liking it. And the thing is that, I've never met Diligent in real life. I only know him by Diligent Denizen. He is a very private person. And so, like, I don't even know who they are exposing or what they are, what they're doing. I mean, that could be somebody completely different. I have no idea. And that's the scariest part about it is like, even whenever, it could be somebody completely not anything to do with this that they're showing pictures and doing all this stuff or even made up, who knows, with AI today. And so it's just, I feel like people just need to respect people's privacy and respect, go on the content of their character, of what they're saying. And if you can argue and debate and say that they're wrong with facts, then do that. But just to make up stuff and be in la la land under some illusion, which, trying to convince people that this is what they should believe is wrong. Even in Diligent Spaces all the time, he tells you, don't, believe me, go and do your own research, look it up for yourself, see what you find out. You don't have to believe me. And some of these people are so forceful, like you have to believe this or else you're wrong. And, this is, it's just bonkers to me. And I just really wish as humanity, we would do better about respecting people, even if your opinions don't match and you don't align 100%. That doesn't mean you have to tear them down. And it doesn't mean you have to attack them. And it doesn't mean you have to try to expose them. Like, what is the point of that? It's just, it doesn't make any sense. It's very childish and it's very scary for people, especially whenever they are just trying to be, trying to share what they have found and tell the truth about something that they believe. And not even with Diligence, not even that he's trying to tell the truth of what he believes. He's trying to figure it out. There's no hard facts. And in most of our spaces, it's us asking questions because we don't know what the hell is going on. And we're trying to figure it out just like everybody else is. So it's been a wild ride to watch him be attacked the way that he has for the crazy things that have happened in my own personal life with my senator, and to hear and read all of the things that are now going on X, which is, it's kind of calmed down somewhat by some people, but some people just will not let it go. And it's just really sad because I don't even know what is the end game. What are you trying to do? We're still going to show up. He's been throttled, his reach has been not what it used to be, but what do you get out of that personally? It's just crazy.
Like I said, you'll come to the conclusion where their operations being conducted. It's like these are money interests. There's like hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in these kinds of weird campaigns. It's a lot of it is normal people too that are just being nudged, and they've just been basically slapped over the past few years to, they hear keywords, racist, pedo, blah blah blah. They just go into full, like, you know what I mean. But a lot of it is way more organized than I even thought to, right? And like I came into the UFO land just I'm gonna have fun, make little videos. Blah, blah, blah. Little did I know how fucking weird it gets over here, and I'm looking across, it gets weird over there with Epstein shit. Chaotix here telling us it gets weird with fintech type stuff. A lot of people are doing it online. People don't realize. People are, like I said, people are stuck in the 2004 mentality brain. But like these companies and these interests that are spending millions of dollars on like social engineering and how apps work and all this dumb shit. Well, it's important, but for them, Like they have this shit down to a T, bro, and that's why we need some laws about it, bro, because a lot of people are coming on these. They want to just talk, exercise the First Amendment right, and they're not prepared for all this shit that's going on.
Who was speaking in that clip that you played about China, where the guy's like, I knew it was kind of bad, but then only once I got elected, I realized
That
how
was
bad it was.
Congressman Eric Burleson, who was in Chupacabra Space 2 nights ago. It was super epic. Everyone should go listen to it. We did like 3 hours of just straight deep fucking UFO shit. It was awesome. But that was what he said about China. Yeah. And Flag, I just had to decoast you for a bit because Kimball's in the back channels complaining. So we're gonna let him up here. He's gonna try and make me and Tupa look evil, but it'll be illuminating for the panel or for the space. But yeah,
All right, okay.
Charlie. So yes, that was Burleson. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I mean that was I think that's very, very true. I mean, just from again, sort of using Occam's razor, they're the largest, they're the second most populous country in the world. India just passed them. They're the second largest economy in the world, right? And everyone's talking about how they're trying to battle the U.S. for supremacy. It just makes sense that they would be and there's many people and groups, as we've discussed. Probably everyone's trying to get their fingers into it, either as an attack or as a defense these days because of the 5G nature of what we're living. But I think it's probably more than likely that they're by far the preeminent purveyor, being a one-party state, having both ideological and kind of political differences with the current world superpower, that they're the ones who have the most invested in this kind of behavior and have
can I
done the
highlight
most
something
thinking about it.
real quick? We got
Go
this
ahead.
Mrs. Claus account that just putting all this shit about Diligent. Isn't this just like King Milkfart, right? Because Diligent's going to complain, oh, this Mrs. Claus account is fucking harassing me and posting all these weirdo dick pics. People are going to say, you read about an account called Mrs. Claus? Right? They do it's just like the same shit, bro. Same shit, same dumbass tactics. That account is probably in the DMs with some Palantir bitch, just like King Milkfart is in the DMs with Lou Elizondo, Sifa gang stalker, Lockheed Martin contracted fucking bitch. And this is what they do. So if Dylan says something and complains about it, like, Diligent, you're crying about someone named Miss Klaus? You a bitch, man. It's like, oh no, they're posting pictures of my family. They're putting pictures of my face on dicks. They're followed by a Palantir guy. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. It's just the way they do it, bro. They know how to do it. They know how to, yeah. I want to hear from Interspect. Are you there real quick? And then we'll go to Kent Reynolds. Interspect, you around, brother? I know he's got a good eye on a lot of this shit. If not, he might be asleep. Hopefully he's having some sweet dreams if he is. All right, we'll go to Kent Reynolds, and then we brought up some other people. I'm feeling good. Noxie, hope you're feeling good. That's something too. Maybe we'll do some of these more often because it sounds like it's happening in a lot of other communities. But sometimes it just feels good to just talk about this shit. Because like Noxie, I'm sure you could like in your day-to-day people who aren't like online people, right? Like how do you explain this shit to them? You know what I mean? They'll have empathy and stuff. But they just really won't get it. You know.
Very, very slowly. That's one of the things that really helps about Diligent Spaces. A lot of people don't like how grok heavy it is. Some people really do. And for me personally, I like the grok spaces. I love having grok in the space because you're actually able to look it up without having to stop and look it up. You can just ask grok, which is a little bit different than just asking somebody who has a biased opinion. So, he has like a Spotify that he takes his spaces and he puts them on Spotify. And so I share his Spotify with a lot of my family and my friends because it helps to, it actually like, I guess you guys sound like you've been in like this whole world for a long time. And so for some of us that are just coming into it, that are kind of beginners, it really breaks it down and makes it a lot easier to, I guess, absorb the information because you're not having to go and fact check everything that somebody has said because it's Grok saying it. So Grok's already fact checking it themselves almost. And also Grok is able to tie all of the information together and piece it, whereas it would be a lot harder to do on your own. So I really like the Grok spaces. And I think that for people that are not in the world of digging into this every day, I find it really helpful. So my family, I started trying to explain this to them a while back. I would say probably whenever Trump was still running. I still voted for him. But whenever he was still running, I started seeing the Palantir signs and things at the rallies. And I started questioning it. And then as I started learning more about it, I was like, this is really weird. And then on his second day of office or first day of office, he had the Project Stargate come up with Oracle and the $500 billion going into Oracle, or not Oracle, but it was Stargate. And that had Oracle, Larry Ellison, and Sam Altman there. And I started looking into that. And that was like all of the TikTok drama and everything had just happened. And TikTok was supposed to be, was shut down. And then they gave it to Oracle to be able to handle all of the data. And so I was like, well, that's really weird. And then I started seeing the weird things that Larry Ellison was saying. And I'm like, okay, that's even weirder. And so just kind of piecing it together of what it actually was. And it was in the back of my mind. I knew that it was there. But then as I started piecing together all of the Epstein stuff, and I realized that Epstein and Peter Thiel, Epstein had invested into Peter Thiel. And I'm like, well, this can't be good. And we started just going down all of these rabbit holes. And with Grok in the Spaces being able to connect it all together. And I'm like, this is just insane. And being able to, I start with my family just one little piece at a time, or my friends just one little piece at a time. And lucky for me, I have some really great friends. So whenever we are together, they're not complete normies. And so they actually do some research on their own. And so we're even actually able to like put things together, even just talking, that sometimes we hadn't thought of on our own. And I think that's one of the great things about the Spaces is people are able to come up, bring up information that maybe you wouldn't have thought, think of questions that maybe you wouldn't have thought, or be like, how does this person play into it? So it's just very slowly with people that are not in it every day and doing it as extensively, and trying to meet them on the level that they're at instead of
How are you
expecting
prepping
them
your
to be
family
at
for
mine.
the harassment and stuff? And like you said, you have kids, right? If you keep
Yeah.
at it, they're gonna try and incorporate that somehow.
Well, and I dealt with that a while back because of one of my daughter's professors. And she was really worried that her professor, I was talking about her, I made just a dumb comment about her professor online, and it kind of blew up a little bit. And she was really worried that it was going to get back to her professor. And so I've made very clear, since this has happened myself, I've changed my name on my other social medias. I don't talk about any of this on my other social medias. I keep it kind of private. And now I'm even more so. For instance, I'm involved in my state politics, but still some people don't know who I am. And I was invited to a Signal group to actually work on a thing for the state. And I won't even join the Signal group because it shares my phone number. And I'm like, I don't want people to even know my phone number. So
In our community, signal groups are major red flags. A lot of the weird, sketchy shit happens in signal groups. Just FYI, I'm not saying it's the same for every community, but intel agents are literally whipping up like mentally unstable people in our community in the signal chats.
Yeah, I'm nervous about anybody even having my phone number at this point. It's January 6th, I stopped posting anything political or anything on Facebook. I moved to X. I don't use my real name. I don't give away my person. I will tell some details about my family. Everybody knows where I'm from because I'm very active in my state. But it's a scary world out there. And whenever you have people that are with bad intentions around you, and coming after people that it makes you a little bit nervous. I definitely have not had as much on me as Diligent has, from my perspective, of them trying to just go after him. But I don't want to be in that situation either. But at the same time, I'm prepared for it. If it happens, then it happens. And my senator knows about it. It's been documented. I'm not going to go down just quietly. I made sure that that my congressperson knows, that several senators know exactly what I'm doing. They've listened to my spaces. And if something were to happen, then they're definitely aware. So that's all I can really do.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all I can feel like I can really do is let people that have some power know what's going on and go from there.
Yeah, Ken has their hand up. Ken, what's up, man?
I was just going to mention for anyone who wishes to think about it, we talk about neural linguistic programming. You got to remember that a lot of these people who've had no training in this at all can just simply go to an AI and use neural linguistic programming techniques through AI to try and change people's opinions or to try and control the narrative. So there can also, that's one of the diabolical things about some of the tactics that are being used. You don't have to be specially trained. You don't have to be a secret squirrel. You don't have to be anyone special to be able to go to these AIs and be given specific ways of getting your point across, or being given specific tactics to demean people and to minimize people. So, people have got to be aware that there's a lot of really good tools out there. AI can be a really good thing for research, but it can also be used for bad as well. And I just think the people amongst us that are prominent in the community need to be aware that we get targeted, not because of just what we're saying. It's the principle that they can control anyone they want to anytime they want, and they want to be able to show that.
100%. 100%. We got Philosophy with her hand up, and then I'm going to bring up Hobbs, and I'm probably going to close out here soonish. Philosophy, what are your thoughts?
So this idea that we seem to have in our minds that AI is some threat. Look, I don't know why everybody's so afraid of not knowing what's real because of AI. Because I've always had the same thought about this. I don't need to believe anything I see, whether it's from human or from AI. I've got a method to figure out what's real. That's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you. Hobbs, you want to say something?
Hey, yeah, it's my first time in the space, so just wanted to give you kudos because it's been a great space and a great conversation so far. I'm fairly not well, yeah. I haven't really been active until the Epstein stuff started popping off on X, and that's when I kind of really hopped on here. And then through that, was in a space with Noxie, and then found Diligent through her. And the thing, like, you know, uh, I would say like I have a bias that's probably more against Trump, and the thing that really caught me in diligent spaces is that when it comes, first of all, when it comes to using AI and Grok within the space, he uh, uses his framework that he uses to make sure that it's not just pulling random information off of Reddit posts or X posts, stuff like that. Really caught my eye because he really does boil it down to primary sources, and that's something that's really appealing to me when you're trying to do some actual truth seeking on these crazy situations and crazy cover-ups that happen, and going into the history of it. So that was one thing that was really appealing to me about it. And yeah, just coincidentally, I guess when I joined is when a lot of this stuff started kind of happening in real time. So yeah.
What have you witnessed from your perspective that felt artificial or coordinated?
Just more so like I've been pretty consistently joining his spaces, and I'm a subscriber. So, I've been there the day that his package was intercepted. He was like in a space, pretty much kind of receiving that information in real time, and just been like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is crazy?" And then also just I don't know the gentleman's name, but the clip that you played earlier of the gentleman who
State senator.
No, well, I was there for that one as well.
Oh, the Palintir guy. The Palintir guy.
No,
Did you play that again?
that one I'm not as familiar with. I think that was probably right before I started joining intelligence spaces, so I didn't see that whole situation play out completely. But the other intelligence gentleman who was letting him know that these little signs that you're getting are definitely tactics that are used within the intelligence agencies on regular basis, and they're intimidation tactics to let you know that you're flying too close to the sun and you're getting the attention of people that you may not want to get the attention of. So it's been pretty crazy to witness that kind of stuff in real time. I've always been aware of the fact that kind of situation or these kind of things happen, especially when you do start talking about situations involving stuff like Epstein, and especially once you start following the money and going, it leads you down that corporate receipt trail. But I guess my major point, like when I was coming in, is just with Diligent. I think the reason that I would say that like I'm not skeptical about the fact that these situations or signals are happening to him is because using that framework and the way that he guides his spaces in a very, like we're going to stay on subject and we're only sticking to primary information, is he literally does have the receipts for any of the stuff that he's talking about. So I think when you can produce the receipts on stuff like that, then it does take away from their ability to discredit the information. And yeah, that's kind of been the big standout for me. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents. And yeah, appreciate again the space. I'm gonna have to join more because I do love the UFO stuff as well.
Oh yeah, and it's really messy over here, man. All right, well, Noxy, is there anything else you want to say? Nice meeting you, Hobbs. Hit the follow back. Anything you want to close out with, Noxy? I'm glad we connected too. Again, a lot of times it just, at least for me, I found, especially when we started off, it was very isolating, and like a lot of our whole community was basically like clicked into just going along with these weirdo campaigns that they were doing on people. So talking to people was very like, just felt good. Just get a weight off your shoulder. You're not crazy.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you again, and thanks for the support and letting us know that there are other people that experience this. And I agree with Hobbs. Like the way that Diligent does it, he's able to question and back it up with facts, whatever it is. And he lets basically the facts tell him what the story is. And then he'll kind of repeat whatever, Grok says from it by us just asking the questions. And so it is really hard to, for anybody else to come and combat him because it is what it is and you can't change what it says. And so I don't know. I just wanted to say I saw him in here. And I just wanted to give him a little bit of credit too, because I have seen it and I've been there with him through it. He doesn't see a lot of it because he just blocks people. And sometimes I don't block everybody that he does. And so I still see other things that he doesn't see. And my whole thing is just a shout out to humanity of just be better, be good people. And if you see something like that, like don't even engage with it or acknowledge it because you're just better than that, and we have to be better than that as people.
They want
That's
you
it.
distracted and worked up with someone else they could probably weaponize or some dumb shit. But yeah, cool.
And
Flack.
it takes away from what we're focused on.
Exactly.
It's trying to distract. We're trying to dig into Palintir and into Epstein. Actually, we're trying to dig into Epstein, and Palintir just came up. But we're trying to get into the facts of what's going on in our country and what we're seeing. And all of these things are just distractions, and they're trying to distract him and they're trying to be quiet. And so by feeding into it, it helps them. That's what they want to happen. And so I don't engage with it, and he doesn't engage with it that I know of. I don't monitor everything that he does, but I know I don't engage with it. And I don't think that he even engages with it. I don't see it anymore. And, it's just nothing is going to take us off of our trail. We're going to keep digging. We're going to keep looking, and they can be mad.
Hell yeah. Keep the resolve up. Flack.
Oh, I just wanted to say thanks. Not too many people are keeping the Epstein shit up, especially after the attacks that everyone seems to get when trying to post that stuff. And you guys are on a way bigger scale for, I guess, like the areas you guys are getting into. So thank you, and thank Diligent. Like, you guys are awesome. I'm gonna give you a follow now. Actually, here you go. Boom, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Red. You guys kick ass in both the subjects that you kick ass in. So thank you.
Thank you, bro. I think if I can't get Logan to do a space, I'll probably do an after space. But I did kind of want to put a tail end on this kind of conversation. Charlie, what are your closing thoughts? And then I'll probably close